Ahoy, landlubbers. It's me, your Captain Vasco speaking. Welcome, one and all, to another Friday. We're here to play Raincoat, or at least I am. Ideally, you're here to watch. I guess you could also be playing. I'm not going to stop you, but no spoilers, please. It is my first playthrough of the game. It is also Friday, July the 28th, 2023. I've been asked how my week went. Hot. Hot and kind of miserable. It's like... So earlier this year, before the summer, my third secondary air conditioner since I've lived in this apartment broke and had to be replaced. And the new one is an improvement, like a decent improvement over the old one, which was like pretty good. So that's really nice. It was really expensive. My parents just sort of got it for me. I think I'd probably die without it. It's really much too hot for you can't see it. It's like right here. It's very bad. The air conditioner that's built into the apartment is horrendous. It's like a noise box that reminds you of how hot you are. It's terrible. So even with that, it's been really, really miserable. We've been breaking or nearly breaking temperature records basically every day, and keep in mind that to begin with, I live in Los Angeles, which is known for being pretty hot. It's not like Vegas, but is bad. So just as a frame of reference, before I started the stream, I checked what the internal temperature of my apartment is, and it's pretty consistent with the average temperature for most of the day throughout the past 2 weeks. Which is to say 86 degrees Fahrenheit indoors in my apartment with 2 air conditioners on. And I gotta tell you that after a prolonged period of time living in a low-grade sauna, my sanity is just frayed. It just feels bad all the time. I don't like it. I'm just tired and sad, all the time. More so than usual. I had a mini vacation this week. Oh, that's good, Demolition. Jake says his air conditioner is broken. It's just too hot outside to cope. I mean, sometimes you just have a bad air conditioner. The main thing that mine does is convert electricity into noise and water, which it used to spray just haphazardly all over the walkway outside my apartment. And then also earlier this year, if long-time viewers may have already caught the rant about how my landlady was like, oh, we should do something about that. And then over 2 separate occasions had some weird handyman attach narrow PVC pipes to the bottom of the air conditioner to siphon the moisture that comes out of the air conditioner through a hole that they drilled in the walkway to just sort of sprinkle all over the space directly outside my downstairs neighbor's apartment. Because we're all idiots, I guess. So yeah, sometimes that happens, and I don't recommend it because that sucks. It's pretty sucks. Anyway, I like it's a really good episode of The Twilight Zone. I don't know why The Twilight Zone's been coming up so much lately. Called The Midnight Sun, and it's all about a world where the Earth allegedly starts moving towards the sun, and at a certain point there's just no escaping the heat, and the story follows an apartment building and the stuff that happens there as the world is basically melting. And if I remember correctly, her landlady or neighbor or something is just painting these sun, just painting the sun, and the paintings are just keep melting because it's so hot, and they're why won't you paint something other than the sun? Why? And so yeah, I like to imagine something other than the sun, which is the rainy world of Raincoat. It's full of mysteries. Last week we did a lot of tutorialization. We learned about the subquest system. We finally got proper control of our character to sort of do some overworld exploration. We met what I assume will be the main cast of characters for much or all of the rest of the game. All the folks who were on that original train with us, they're all dead. I can't stress this enough. All of them died. But then we went through the sewer and into a submarine, and we met more anime weirdos. And I mean, like, really, that's kind of it. We also got a broadcast from Number One, who's the guy in charge of the World Detective Organization, and he, like, gave us the world's vaguest and most unhelpful directive. He was like, please learn about the super secret of the Kanai Ward, and then also solve the great global mystery that's going to kill all of us or something. And then that's, like, pretty much it. He, like, didn't give us anywhere to start. So, like, we're just kind of wandering around the town, and, like, we heard people talking about a serial killer. And we're like, oh, cool! Let me check that out! And that's, like, probably mostly what we're doing tonight. Although, it occurred to me, let's switch over to the... I don't need this. I probably need to adjust the volume for myself at some point. I need this button. Why has that been so difficult for me lately? Hey, is the save in the right place this time? Let's see. Society needs to get rid of landlords. I want to argue that, Neko, but unfortunately that's a factual statement. Also, hi to Cotillion and Castle Arg. Hello. Good morning, Master Detective. Oh, that's very kind of you, I think. Or very sarcastic of you, which is, like, fine and suitable. You get picture windows that have thunderstorms and rain images. I'm pretty sure you could do that. That sounds pretty cool. I don't know where I'd install it. All the windows in my apartment are, like, weird and irregular. Yeah, it took me a minute to consider that connection is a strong word, Sarah, but the fact that they call the guy in charge of the World Detective Agency number one, and the like guy who was in charge of the kids next door was like number one, spelled with an AH if I'm correct. It was only when I was like posting that episode to YouTube I was like, oh yeah, that's right. There's like a character like that. Although also I was watching one of the 2 Star Trek Strange New Worlds that posted this week, and they were like very insistent about calling the first officer like number one in like a historical context. That was also kind of weird. I skimmed this, and no need to apologize, Ice Bunny. Ice Bunny was saying before that in order to lose weight, you have to consume a certain quantity of fat, and I was a little curious about that. She goes on to explain, starve yourself, your brain goes into hunger mode. So eat about 2,000 calories. You should need to be existing, and fat has the most calories per gram. Macro the doctors made us count for testing low-fat, high-carb diet would make people lose weight. That's interesting. There's been like a lot of ads about that sort of thing online, which always makes me skeptical of stuff. You see the Lower Decks trailer? I think I did. I think they showed that as probably deliberately part of one of those episodes, presumably the Lower Decks crossover. Part of the map I'm in looks like a cassette. It does. It does look like that. Why don't I actually play the game? So we do have a mystery to get to, but much like Hunter rank in Resonance of Fate, God, you're gonna get some pop-ins. If you haven't been watching this game, or you missed last week, I need to warn you that you're going to get some pop-ins. I know that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet got a lot of crap for having characters pop in and out of existence. Somehow people don't talk about that in Raincode, but my god, you're going to get some pop-ins. Anyway, like I was saying, in this game, they've suggested that, like, these side quests, like this question mark umbrella lady, go away at the end of a chapter, and I don't know what the end of a chapter looks like quite yet, so maybe if I start that mystery, this will go away forever. So I'm just gonna do this first, and then we'll look at a serial killer for fun. What should I do if something happened to my baby? I'm sure she's fine. Probably. Oh. Looks like they have a problem, Master. What do you want to do? I can't just ignore them. Let's hear what they have to say, even though they didn't ask for my opinion and I just walked up here. Excuse me, I couldn't help but intentionally overhear you talking about something in terms so vague I don't really know what's happening. Our child suddenly vanished. That's it? A lost kid? Boring. Jakey says the last Strange New Worlds made me depressed and angry. Yes! For me, it was more angry than depressed, but both of those. I did not like that episode. I'm trying to restrain myself from spending the entire stream complaining about it. Because if left unchecked, I probably would. I spent a lot of today being mad about it, because I watched it last night. I think that one posted yesterday. Our little girl was spirited away, I just know. Spirited away? Like the film? Oh, that's an interesting combination of words. Says I, because I'm a ghost. What does being spirited away mean? It's been like 16 years since I saw the film. Lately, there's been a rumor spreading through Kamasaki District. Children are just suddenly disappearing. That's super chill and casual. Even though you never let them out of your sight, they're gone in an instant or spirited away. It seems that none of the other kids who've been spirited away have returned. Oh, please let her be safe. Where did you last see her? It was in Kamasaki District. We were shopping together. Oh, I'm so worried. If something's happened to her... Hey, can we just real quick, can we talk about how, like, I know that they're saying, like, sad words. They're like, oh, no, our daughter. But, like, they literally walk to a separate section of town and are carrying on, like, a fairly quiet conversation, basically being like, it's probably fine. Like, he almost literally said it's probably fine. Like, this is not the way to behave when your daughter is spirited away. Like, can we all agree on that? Like, these parents are just radically irresponsible, or at best, bizarrely negligent. I have other things I need to be doing, so I guess we'll just leave your daughter as a ghost or whatever. No, let's help find the child, because the parents aren't gonna do it on their own.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll find her. You two wait here. I like that we have no idea. We don't even have, like, a clue, and we're like, I'll definitely find your daughter. Hold my beer. You will? Thank you so much. This is a photo of our girl. She's wearing the same clothes today, so it might help you recognize her. I'm begging you, please find our baby. I hope a dingo didn't eat it. To be fair, that's on par for Spirited Away. It may be true. As I mentioned, I don't think I've seen it since it, like, was in theaters. It says he wants to hear about Star Trek. We can talk about Star Trek at some point. I should at least get some progress done. I complained about air conditioning for, like, a long time. How's everyone else doing? Is your ambient room temperature, like, considerably better than mine? Please say yes. So I have to go all the... Wait a minute. How does this work? Can I just opt to go? Menus I have not adapted to yet. Can I just, like, choose to go here? Or I could just travel by bus from anywhere. So even though there's bus stops, I can just bus whenever. That's fine. In the UK, it's been cool and rainy every day for pretty much the whole month. That does sound nice. Doesn't it, like, typically get, like, pretty warm over the summer in the UK? I don't know if it's, like, as long as places I'm familiar with in the US. Hey, they gave me a picture and I didn't look at it at all. Is that a problem? That I didn't even a little bit, like, pay attention?
Detective's responsibility to help those in need.
Like, is it important if I, like, do clues? Wait, how am I missing one? Haven't I gone to all of the existing quests? Where is quest 2? Hey, where's quest 2? You happened upon a couple whose child went missing. According to the couple, there were recent occurrences of being spirited away. Uh-huh. No, but like, I'm so out. I'm putting on a brave face here, but I feel like hot, truly hot garbage. I don't even remember the game putting a photo on the screen. Did that happen? They said they handed me a photo. It was strongly implied that they handed me a photo. It's not here in my quest log. Did that happen? It didn't happen. I feel slightly more sane, but I think I need that. I feel like it is important for me to have that photo. So how do I do that? Master, are you old enough to I think my hotspot is outside of here, but every time that you, like, look at anything, you get experience points.
Huh?
Good question. I don't have any real desire to drink, though. See, I got 10 points for that, and I'm close to leveling up. Hi, Hard Hat Man. You don't seem to be a little girl. Is that a problem? Excuse me, have you seen this child? Never seen her. Was she spirited away, too?
Huh?
You've heard of this before? Does being spirited away happen that often? Have we checked the case files? Yeah, we did. We sure did. We were doing that like a minute ago. Hi, anime. It seems to make sense for it to be there, but I guess instead of us identifying the daughter, we're going to continue to imply that the photo exists by just talking to people, I guess. I don't know about that, but I've seen lots of folks get hysterical because their kid up and vanished. They say it's a ghost that appears out of nowhere and kidnaps the kids. A ghost? Don't lump me together with some ghost. It's not like I believe in ghosts in the first place. I bet Amaterasu is behind it. Amaterasu? Yeah, they're probably using the kids for some kind of experiment, you know, because it's a big corporate city in like a neon quasi-cyberpunk anime. Like, listen, there's enough adjectives that whatever you're thinking happened could have happened. I wouldn't be too surprised if Amaterasu was really behind it all,
Maybe.
Are they really doing something that terrible? Probably. Maybe not this one in particular, but like, yeah,
Thank
probably.
you very much.
Thanks, I'm gonna go talk to some other people and not show them this photo that doesn't exist. How am I missing a quest, though? I really want it. I thought I just had to do this. I already looked at that statue. You can't fool me. Guess now this is closer. Hello, masked lady. Excuse me, have you seen this child around here? Let's see. I feel like I saw her in the underground passage not long ago. Really? I don't remember it clearly, but I think a kid was wearing these same clothes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I'll go take a look. Be careful if you're going down there. The Peacekeepers sometimes shoot you because it's a dystopian future. If you get caught and sent to a detention facility, you're probably not coming back.
What?
Wow, how extreme.
All right.
Okay, I'll try not to get shot, thanks.
Master!
The underground passage. Hey, do you think Andantino knows about that passage? Let's go check it out right away. If we don't hurry, the kid might not be there, or maybe she would have gotten shot by the police. Oh, and now we're just there, huh? Now we're just in... That's weird. I was expecting to at least have to talk to the third person. So I guess there's a correct person to talk to, huh? That's weird. Does this have something to do with cats without homes? What is cats without homes? What is that? Is that something? Listen, I'm gonna need you all to be gentle, because I'm barely functional right now. It feels like a ghost could pop out at any second. I'm spooked.
For now.
But, like, you're... Like, I understand that there is a distinction between you and a ghost because you are a Shinigami, which is a Japanese death god, but at the same time, you do have to appreciate that you are also basically a ghost. No, I don't think this has anything to do with being a stray. I haven't heard anyone mention the name Jason. Okay, I'm assuming... So here's the thing. I haven't seen the photo. I'm assuming that's the child I'm looking for, or at least it looks like them.
Oh.
Huh, isn't that the munchkin we're looking for?
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. I can't look at the photo. The game just tells me it exists. I'm not sure what's happening.
You alright?
Master, be careful. Nani? Oh no, is it a ring ghost? Is it a little ring ghost girl? So you're the one who kidnapped the kid.
Jason!
To be clear, for those of you who are just joining us, or have skimmed some amount of this game, and I think it was mostly covered last week, the city we're in, Kanai Ward, has been subjected to heavy rain nonstop for, and this is important, 3 years. So, yeah,
Sure.
the origami killer would love it here. They'd be like, oh my god. So, I mean, like, basically this guy is, like, probably just the origami killer. But, like, he's also a ghost, so he's, like, even more powerful than Fat Batman. This guy's name is Creepy Man. I don't remember signing anything for my likeness to appear in this game.
The worst. The worst.
Master!
I have a bad feeling about this guy. I think the worst may happen.
This city is the worst. It's all because of Amaterasu Corporation. If not for them.
What are you saying?
I feel sorry for all the children living in the city. The city cursed by Amaterasu. That's why I chose to save them. Through the power of kidnapping.
This guy really isn't human. It's the memory of a man who died miserably.
Oh man, this place is
Sure.
giving me the creeps!
I'm saying he's a ghost and an evil one at that. We gotta get out of here. He's a ghost.
I won't let you.
Damn!
Can he do that? I can't move.
Master! Master!
Net my master, go, you creep.
Choose the child or yourself. Only one will return.
Huh?
He wants me to choose which one of us to save?
On!
Forget about the kid. You're much more important, master. Listen, I've played Heavy Rain. We were basically just... A series of sound effects just played to demonstrate my propensity for Heavy Rain. I understand the game. I understand that we must prove that someone will take care of the children in a way that Scott Shelby's parents did not. So I choose the child.
Come on!
Do you have a death wish? I don't plan on dying, but I can't sacrifice a child.
I leave the children in your care.
Now I have to start an orphanage and the game gets really weird. I always knew that playing Heavy Rain multiple times in my lifetime would pay off for something. Didn't think it'd be like a 3D visual novel game. Who are you, mister? Are we underground? Your mom and dad vaguely cared about you and told me to see if I could bring you back or whatever. Let's head back to them together, okay? We'll start the orphanage at our submarine. I guess that it is good to have a submarine in times like these. That's not true, Sarah. There is one bed. It's not that there's no beds. There's no bed for us. There's one bed for old men, which is the guy who runs the place. Times in this game are so wildly inconsistent. Jeez, Demolition, I'm really sorry for the presumed active tornado warning based on the comments. Some of them have gotten lost in the flurry of heavy rain notifications, but... Thank you so much. How can I ever repay you?
No.
I'm just glad your child is safe. Well, I'll be going. Oh, hang on. Ice Bunny has redeemed Vasco Ventures for literally the first time in, like, 14 months. Turn around and slap the ninja. So, Ice Bunny, the ninja in your narrative, is that the creepy guy ghost that we encountered? Or is this a separate, unrelated, fictional story? The Vasco Ventures has it's been like a test thing to use the virtual dice roller I set up, and I have never solidified the rules to make it into something that people will actually care about. But we can use the die roller to determine how the attack on the ninja goes. Let's see what we get. Ooh, a 2. I'm afraid that, oh, the ninja who lurks in the restaurant. I'm afraid that with a 2, the attack on the ninja probably results in him eating the chocolate bar and then just staring at you, waiting for your next move. Nico asks, how's the 100% juice apple? Maybe you should make it fancy by putting an ice cube in it. I mean, my fridge doesn't have an automatic ice dispenser. Well, it does, but it doesn't... The apartment doesn't have a water line to hook up to it. And I'm much too lazy to manually make ice cubes for the frequency at which I use them. I'll tell you this,
Daddy
though.
does not approve.
Here's a not funny, not interesting anecdote. Earlier this week, I went to buy groceries, and I needed to get some more juice. And... They finally changed the label on 100% juice apple. It's still marked as 100% juice apple. They didn't do something wild like call it apple juice. But it occurred to me only in that moment that the label on this particular brand of apple juice has remained unchanged in the entirety of the time I've lived in California. Now with 100% less apple. I mean, in this economy, probably Castle Art. But what now? I mean, like, in the U.S., many fridges have, like, something built into the freezer that, like, takes a supply of water and, like, will automatically keep a supply of ice cubes so you don't have to constantly, like, manually make them. Which I'm much too lazy to do. Especially, and this is important to this story. If we're going to get into it, this is important. The drinking water in my apartment is not so good. It needs to be filtered to be drinkable. It comes out, and Tech learned this the hard way one time when he was visiting, back when he still lived here. Is like, like we poured some water from like a pitcher I had in the fridge, and then he went to sort of politely refill it afterward. And he just, like, what he must do at his apartment, just, like, crank the water on high and just, like, put the pitcher under it, and it makes, like, it makes, like, a strongly orange-tinted water. And the way around this is, if you run it really narrowly, it doesn't get as gross, and then you filter it, and then it becomes water. But, like, I don't want to put that, like, gross mud water into ice cubes to sully other beverages, and I don't have the time to, like, filter, like, a whole extra batch of water every day. Like, I am not here for it.
Approve.
Okay, Ice Money says, I laugh at him because the chocolate was laced with a diuretic. So in 1, 2, 3, his guts will eject the chocolate. Alright, let's see how the gambit plays out. Perhaps he has developed some sort of immunity to this Ice Bunny. I'm afraid a toot is not looking promising. I think... Here's what I think. Ice Bunny. I think that the ninja lowers their mask and reveals that they have been a cow ninja the entire time. And thus having 4 stomachs, only one of them is compromised, and they are still able to ninja fight. Sarah said, dear God, move. I mean, I've lived here for, like, basically a decade now. It's all about... Oh, this is fun. Look, a piece of my coaster came off on and, like, adhered to the bottom of my drink. Everything in my life is falling apart. It's been like this for a little while now. But my point in responding to that is that, like, I have often found that life is about adapting to misery, and I've gotten very good at it. But what I'm not good at is forcing change to stop misery for myself. I think living there is a strong word. That's entirely fair. I mean, surviving is generally a better description of the last decade of my life. Anyway, we've been, like, listening to this man tell his daughter to tell us thank you for, like, 10 minutes. It's fun. Thanks, mister. See ya! Okay, I'm not actually sure we're getting anything done today. Oh, look. A little cutscene. There's a treat. I'm glad that you and the kid are safe, but what was that ghost?
I'm sure.
I bet he used to really adore children. Okay, I'm gonna take that at face value. I don't think he ever planned to harm them. Then why all the kidnapping?
That's why.
He probably meant it when he said he wanted to save them. I do like that... I don't know if that's a museum or whatever, but I do like that there's a building with 2, like, ominous T-Rex skeletons. That's what I think, anyway. I think there was a line of dialogue I skipped because I'm completely out of it. Finish the thing. I missed the... Ice Bunny, did you have another attempt to stop the ninja? So hang on a second. I might need to, like, learn a thing about this game. So perhaps it is necessary to be in proximity to a certain location in order to get a quest there? I'm gonna do a quick lap of the universe as I know it. It's funny. Suggests to set a trap. Why do you hang out at cows are us? And then wave the cook in behind him. Alright, let's see if the gambit works. And it was a really exciting one. Okay, at a 4... That's a success with a complication. So, I think that the cow follows your lead and begins to head towards the kitchen, but smells something that's suspiciously like beef. Can you assuage the cow's concerns? Can you trick the cow further into thinking that they should not be worried until the plan is complete? Now, Chad is just trying to conspire to kidnap me to save me from my own apartment, which is, like, really well-intentioned and all. But, like, just good luck finding anything affordable. I think I mentioned this on stream. My own landlady recently was complaining about the rate of rents in the building that she is landlady for. I mean, she works for, like, a bigger property management company, but, like, that feels problematic.
This is...
Looks like Amaterasu containers. They must have been brought in from outside Kanai Ward. They're filled with corpses! Nani? At least I hope so. Yahaha! Oh, I leveled up from finishing that quest and, like, didn't pay attention to it. Look, it's gonna be a rough stream for me. I do apologize. I have, like, nothing left to give. Rusk Station staff. This is Kanai Station, but trains don't really come that often. It's like this all the time. Hardly anyone comes here, so it's, like, really quiet. Since Kanai Ward's been so isolated, no one's coming or going except you, Master. I never imagined it would be like this. That was worth a whole 5 points. Can I actually go into the train station? Is there a quest in here? I don't know. Oh, of course, it's a vegan patty. Alright. I imagine this will work. Yeah, there you go. You got your 6. So it's funny. I think at this point, it's safe to say that your plan to defeat the Cow Ninja is successful. It's taken by surprise with your cohort, the chef, and a celebration occurs with some sort of cookout. Good game. Enjoy this celebratory confetti cannon. Ah, yes, the seldom used Vasco random. This place really is a ghost town. Oh, hey, look, I found a thing. I found a shard. At least I got something. Do we want to watch that now? Looks like the ticket gate. It's a bunch of peacekeepers over by the platform. I guess they're handling security. Better keep our distance. They do hate us and all. If goods can be imported and exported, then people should be able to come and go too. Oops, please don't tell the peacekeepers what I just said. It's treason! Well, this didn't really accomplish my primary goal, but I did find a thing. Ooh, more points. Front entrance to the station is currently under construction. Please use the rear entrance. No one's coming or going. Why all the construction? What kind of construction is being done? I hear there's going to be more importing and exporting, so there are always expansion product. That sounds difficult. Well, that's how much Kanai Ward is developing. I do like encountering those people. There's just, like, random people who give you, like, little blurbs that genuinely feel like they build out an understanding of the world and could inadvertently hint towards, like, the Kanai Ward's secret nonsense. Oh, by the way, thank you for the bits demolition. I'm really distracted and all that. For the AC and water fund. I mean, I don't know that that fund exists in a concrete sense, but the intention is appreciated. Giggle. Giggle. Oh, I can look at this bench.
Oh,
That's one stylish bench. I bet no one sits on it because of the rain, though. It's a shame, because you could just about see the whole city from here. I can even see downtown Lidsville. No one will ever understand that joke. It's too esoteric. Can I cross to that middle bit? It looks like there's a glowing thing. It could be a shard, but probably isn't. Talk to this person? I'll probably die before I see the world beyond these tracks. Living out your whole life confined in Kanai Ward is a lonely proposition, don't you think? I guess so. Of course you don't get it, Master. You came from the other side of the tracks. But which side of the tracks is the wrong side of the tracks? Alright, look, I know I'm not making progress, but the completionist in me is going to be really bothered if I don't manage to find the missing optional side quests. All I need you to do, as the loyal crew existing in chat, is to start shouting at me if you become sick of me exploring, looking for experience points, and trying to find an optional quest. Yeah, that girl was wearing a poncho. Is there... You don't think... Sarah, you don't think that they were doing anything indecent on that bench, do you, with all that giggling? Had I previously discovered this restroom? Oh no, you're going into the men's room with poor defenseless little me right here. Can't go in because it's being cleaned anyway. Stop being so weird about it. I love Drone Umbrella. I want Drone Umbrella. Right, that one's a dead end. I have no idea where this thing would be. I mean, check something really quick, so... Not abilities. I mean, I could do abilities, because I leveled up, but I'm not doing abilities. So, the first quest is at the hotel. The second request is... Is it directly across from the hotel? I think the thing directly across from the hotel was part of the hotel quest. But, like, it really suggests that it should be in the Is it Kamasaki? Yeah. It really suggests to me that the quest I'm missing...
Get wet. Down there.
Should be in the Kamasaki district. Have I looked at this poster? I think I did. The anti-something poster. Oh no, I didn't. Although I definitely looked at virtually the same thing. Like a torn anti-Amaterasu poster. That's why she wore her poncho. She was concerned of getting wet down there by the tracks. I mean, it sounds pretty plausible to me. It's a very valid concern. It's been raining here for 3 years. Can't tell if I'm being dumb by missing something obvious, and as a result, not finding the quest here. Or if I'm being dumb by nature of the fact that I should go somewhere else. And it's just not here.
Not this way.
Apparently I can make my way back up to the abandoned rooftop. I don't know why I would want that, but it is good to know that I can. Kanai Ward, Amaterasu Corporation, Peacekeepers. I have no idea what's in store for me. No point worrying about the future. It is what it is. That's not true. It's the future. It hasn't been determined yet. You don't have a worry in the world, do you, Shinigami? I mean, Shinigami seems to have some concern over how much murder is being done, which is weird because she is a death god. I actually really like this. So, Neko in chat asks Sarah whether she prefers Tama from Somnium Files Nirvana Initiative or Shinigami from Raincode as, like, horny side character. And Sarah says, Tama is cute in both of her forms. She's a little more controlling instead of just bratty. but Shinigami is very straightforward and not embarrassed by her desires. But Shinigami is also an awful blob thing. I feel like that pretty nicely summarizes it. It's tough. I mean, like, I definitely prefer both of them to Aiba from both Somnium Files games. I do feel like we could have done a better job on the blob form if we wanted it to be cute. But, like... And I talked a little bit about this, but, like... I really feel as though one thing that this game does better than both Somnium Files games is, like, the fact that, like, Shinigami's horniness is just, like, just overtly a part of her character is, in a way, refreshing. But, like, also, I think it just makes the character more sincere. Like, at least with Tama, when she does the weird flirting stuff with Ryuki, like, I believe it. Like, I don't know why the AI in that world would be programmed to have, like, an attachment to a person in that way. But, like, when Aiba does it with Date, or even in weird rare cases with Mizuki, like, it just doesn't work because it's always, it's so intentionally insincere. Because Aiba is supposed to be better than that, but she'll do it sometimes for seemingly no reason. But, like, the reason is just to, like, have the joke, but then to, like, try and pretend that we're better than the joke. And for me, it works much better when, like, Shinigami is just like, I'm horny for mysteries. And we're just like, I am a slightly horrified maybe child. It's unclear how old I am. I don't think I looked at this vending machine. Can I have free food? I was thinking about grabbing a drink since I'm kind of thirsty, but I don't have a wallet. Maybe it's at the stations lost and found. I doubt it. I don't think that's true. Okay, here's the conclusion I've reached. I don't know where the thing is. So, I think I'm just going to get on with the case, but I will probably check out the relatively new to me Ginma district a little bit. See if we somehow, like, pass something that triggers us getting quest number 2. Which, again, it feels like we should have access to if we've already solved 3 and 4, but, you know, whatever. Sarah suggests Ryuki needs the sort of romantic connection because he's emotionally unstable. Function of Tama is probably to create a bond with him. I mean, yeah, but, like, it doesn't necessarily need to be overtly sexual, right? Like, you could just have, like a socially intimate relationship as well. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but, like, it's potentially weird to program that. It's complicated. He is a teenage boy. Yeah, well, okay. He is a teenage boy, but for one, he's, to my recollection, never the one initiating the horny conversations. And two, I mean, if you're intimating, like, physical needs, then I don't think the AI accomplishes support of that function. A cafe, huh? I wonder if I often came to places like this before I lost my memory. Master hanging out in cafes? I don't see it. Yeah, he's not like a screenwriter or something. I mean, maybe. You have to look at everything. Points are important, maybe. Or maybe they're not important at all.
Oh no, I'm making him horny.
You gotta be careful. That's all. There doesn't seem to be anything else going on in here. It felt like because there was something to lead me inside, that there might be more to it. Hey, is this the front door of an establishment? Because, like, you can't go in there. There's a door as though this is, like, a business, but if you were to open that door, it would, like, open 3 inches and then smash into this, like, cabinet with pottery and antiques on it or whatever. Also, incidentally, just because we were talking about it before, This is what it looks like downstairs from my air conditioner. This is a dramatic reenactment of my air conditioner being on in, like, nearly triple degree temperatures. It just does this to my downstairs neighbor for some reason. And for some reason, everyone's okay with that.
I might get wet down there.
It's so weird that there's, like, properly functioning crosswalks in this world. I can zoom in more. I can't zoom out more. It seems like that would be helpful to me. Let's just skim around a little bit, see if we find anything interesting around here. It's definitely... you could get wet down here. Oh, I found another memory. Bat 1,000. Not the thing I'm looking for, but it's good that I've done it, I guess. That's what happens when you try to run a business as an introvert who hates people. I mean, I guess that's one way to do it. Typically, I find that what's more likely in those cases that the person running that small business feels the need to run everything because they don't trust the other people because they hate them. But then what they do is they interact with customers in a really hostile way that spooks them off, and then the business fails. I found a hologram sign.
Told you so.
That sign is so sick. I'm way into the cyberpunk aesthetic. Really? The more I look at it, the more tired my eyes become. I think you came to the wrong city, bud. Also, I think this is where Ice Bunny fought the ninja cow. It's the steakhouse. Alright, that seems to be a dead end. Recall Spider-Man and Metal Gear Solid 4 had functioning crosswalks. Metal Gear Solid 4? Don't know that one as well as others. But for some reason, I'm skeptical of that. I just wonder why that would be true. Is this where the mystery is? I assume so. The yellow markers lead me this way. Look, we've only done nothing for an hour. I guess we might as well trigger a cutscene or two. I like the stained glass clock tower thing. It's good. Hey, look, it's the same little girl we rescued 5 seconds ago, and not a repeat character model, probably, I promise. There's a big clock tower nearby, and that's where my friends and I usually play. Something happened, and the peacekeepers ran us off. I'm so bored.
Look at all those rubberneckers.
Nailman got caught. Well, then it's not going to be a very good mystery.
Hey, I heard the Nailman got caught.
What? The serial killer?
Sorry, I misspoke. The mailman got caught. He didn't deliver the mail.
So, what's this nailman guy like? Is his face covered with nails?
Nah, that's a different... That's like a horror movie villain.
He's not called Nailman because he's covered in them, idiot. Didn't you hear about the nails all over the crime scenes?
If he had, I don't think he would have asked.
Nails all over the crime scenes?
Good blushing Shinigami.
So it was another locked room mystery, right?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Locked room mystery?
I don't know if it's a catchphrase of her or if it's something she just said that one time, so just for good measure, I'm gonna fire one of these off.
I'm so horny for mysteries right now.
It will amuse me if that keeps coming up, though.
I'm hearing lots of exciting phrases, one after another.
Yeah, she's pretty excited.
I just might start drooling. Master, let's hurry and check it out.
So, here's a serious question, right? Like, I do a lot of teasing here of all the games I play. Because I'm an angry, bitter recluse who doesn't have adequate drinking water and all the other things I complain about. But, so, when we were in the Mystery Labyrinth for the train case, wasn't it basically strongly implied that Shinigami had some mission of helping us eliminate all the mysteries? Because if a mystery goes unsolved, then like more people will be drawn to the mystery, and then the labyrinth like consumes them and makes them serial killers, and like that was something she wanted to stop. But then we like run into a literal serial killer, and she's like, "I'm so horny for mysteries right now."
We can't. It's already sealed off by the peacekeepers.
I can't wait any longer!
Hey!
Oh, this feels bad.
Oh,
This is gonna be a problem.
Good morning.
Who are you?
Did something happen here?
That's not an answer.
The place is off limits to outsiders. Get lost.
Sorry.
Why are you so quick to back down? You're so pathetic.
I'm a really big fan of the leads in this. I think I said last week, like, I'm not sure I've gotten to interact with enough other recurring characters to really get a sense of how strong their voice acting is, but, like, I really like both of our main characters here, Yuma and Shinigami.
I know, but take a look
Voice
around.
acting is great.
There's no way I can get any closer. Don't tell me to push my way through the peacekeepers. I don't want them setting their sights on me. Besides, the murderer has already been caught. There's no point in me getting involved.
You're like Vivia Twilight. Vivia Twilight's pretty good. What's the thing what's his catchphrase? I hope to die someday. And then he's just like casual. He's got that like paint me like one of your French girls energy at all times. He's just a real weird character in a great way.
And you call yourself a detective? A detective will always crave more info about the crime. It's a locked room mystery. You should be crapping your pants with excitement right now.
No, I shouldn't.
I feel like I don't want that.
Besides, I'm not even a proper detective.
Master, don't tell me you're worried about being a trainee.
It's more like... I just don't get it. Why am I even trying to become a detective? I mean, will I ever regain my memories? Without them, I don't know how to feel about working at the Nocturnal Detective Agency.
Master, what's important isn't your past, it's your future.
I mean, you're the reason this happened to me in the first place, Shinigami.
Well, if you're so fixated on the past, why don't you follow in the footsteps of your past self?
What do you mean?
Aim to become a detective as a trainee. If you aim for the same destination, all paths will eventually lead to one place. Which means that one day, you should understand how your past self felt.
I get the feeling you're just saying that so I'll do what you want me to.
Yeah, but there's some reasonable amount of logic to it. Hey, by the way, I would love to just real quickly direct all your attention to the upper right corner of the screen. I'm even gonna disappear for a second to emphasize this. Check out that pool up there. It's doing something real funny. What's that all about? Is it reflecting a giant sky fan? What's the texture doing? Is that intentional?
Besides, how am I supposed to try to become a detective?
By like trying?
Through investigating cases, obviously.
And ideally crapping your pants, I guess. You need to see it again. I mean, like, it's still there. Like, it's still under the corner of it's under the text box and it's under me right now.
So, let's scope out that clock tower. How about it, future detective?
Yeah, you're just trying to make me do whatever you want.
Yeah, but she's really good.
Oh, fine. For now, I'll ask around about what happened. Maybe this case has something to do with Kanai Ward's ultimate secret.
That's the spirit! Mysteriful!
Anyway, says, I think there is a giant sky fan. It's all the art I've seen of this game's multi-level city, and I assume we're on the bottom. Is it like a... I don't think it's like a tiered sort of tower-style thing, though. It's like multi-level for sure. Mysteryful. Very mysteryful. And I was gonna go look at the rain, but I'm not sure where the game's gonna boot me out after the cutscene. No, you're right. If given the options that there's a giant Sky fan or that they, like, did something weird with the animation, Occam's Razor suggests Sky fan for sure. Oh, it kicked me out of that zone entirely. Now I'm meant to ask random people. Okay, sure.
Pardon me, but it seems like something happened at the clock tower. Do you know anything about it?
Oh yeah, I saw the Peacekeepers take away the culprit.
Huh? You saw who it was?
They apprehended a man wandering around the clock tower. He had a lot of weapons on him.
Yeah, but that could be anything.
Among them was a hammer, so he's the culprit for sure. After all, they say the nail man always carries a hammer and nails wherever he goes.
That seems cool.
He was wandering around the clock tower while carrying a hammer.
That sure does sound suspicious.
I wish that I could have throw an umbrella. It just seems fun. This isn't a quest lady. I just saw the umbrella and was immediately drawn to it. Which do I choose? What she's thinking about. How is that worth points? Does this game know what detectives are? Gotta cross at the functioning crosswalk. I like how we somehow, like, intuitively know which people will tell me about the nail man.
There seems to have been some sort of incident at the clock tower. Do you know anything about it?
Oh my, really? Such troubled times we live in. It's that man again, right? I've heard there were numerous cases.
You mean the nail man?
That's the one! There was
That's
a promotion
it.
not too long ago. Where did it happen again? The museum or the art gallery?
There's something really weird about the way she said that. She's like, it's that guy again. The one who does all the murders. You know, with the nails? You mean the nail man? That's it, the nail man. She's voiced because she's a quest NPC. It's, like, relevant to the main plot, so it's, like, properly voiced. The side quest characters and the, like, random experience observation characters, not voiced. That's what I've gathered so far, anyway.
In any case, I'm glad he's been caught. I'd heard there were no clues
A radical
to the crime
take.
scenes because they all occurred in locked rooms with no way in or out.
Just to be clear, even if a case was a locked room case that no one was able to solve, there would probably still be clues.
Phew, I'm so relieved. By the way, who are you? You've got some nerve talking to me as if you know me.
But
Oh, sorry.
I know that we needed to apologize for that. I mean, I realize it's Japan. That still feels aggressive. Getting back into the cassette tape. Oh, Yellow Man, you're gonna get some poppins.
Excuse me. I heard that the criminal called the Nail Man was caught.
I did also appreciate, though, that that last one was like, I'm glad the murderer's caught. Like, yeah? Is that, like, a hot take to you? Or... Speaking of locked rooms, we might be doing an escape room for our next work outing. That could be fun. I've had some really varied experiences with them. But I did one on my birthday this year that was really awesome. It was like a... It was like a submarine exploration thing in 3 acts. You had to, like, navigate down to the secret lab. And then, like, explore it to, like, find some secret discovery in it. And then... at the end, and this was really cool because I've never seen something like this before. The like big screen that they played the introductory video on, which is like pretty standard these days, played like basically a video game on it, and you had to like navigate the submarine, like back up to the surface before time ran out, or like a big octopus would kill you. It was really cool. I've like never seen anything at all like that, and it was just like really well executed, despite having a bunch of technology in it. Every time I've seen an escape room try to integrate technology before that, I've been excited about it, because I feel like that's, like, a really good way to integrate, like, novel puzzle solutions, rather than just, like, infinite combination locks and whatever. But, like, every time I've seen someone try to do that, it's been horrific. But, like, they did such a good job with this. It was really great. And, like, just all the puzzles in the place were really good.
Really? That's big news. I better tell everyone.
So,
I've learned
who
nothing.
is this nail man?
What? You don't know? I'm sure you've at least heard about it.
I'm new here.
He's the mysterious Nail Man, Conai Ward's most famous urban legend.
I'm sure you've heard of the Nail Man. Let me tell you all about the Nail Man. His name is the Nail Man.
Urban legend? Sorry, haven't heard of it.
Oh? You should count yourself lucky then.
Do people die if they've heard the story? Why would that make me lucky?
You ever felt the urge to kill someone while going through your day?
Alright, man. Maybe this guy should apologize to me for being a little bit direct with me, huh? Maybe after that line of dialogue, we're not friends anymore.
The Nail Man can make that wish come true.
I think you're under arrest. I'm a trainee, but I feel like you should be arrested.
All you need to do is write down the name of someone you wish dead. Someone you hate so much you could kill them. Then make a doll resembling that person, nail the name tag to it, and leave it at the forest behind the church. This summons the Nail Man, who will kill that person for you. Or so the legend goes. Whoever is killed by the Nail Man is pinned by countless nails.
This man is the Nail Man. You're right, that's true. That guy is definitely the Nail Man.
Scary. I can't handle horror stories.
You not handle horror stories. You're a ghost and also a death god. Do you think he has his own Shinigami, considering?
But that's just an urban legend, right?
Considering that basically we've described Death Note, as pointed out in chat.
It was until 6 months ago. For the past 6 months, corpses kept turning up covered in nails.
I gotta tell you, there's something, like, way more disconcerting to me about an urban legend that, like, there's no evidence of. Like, people just, like, made up a weird rumor or whatever. And, you know, like, it's one thing to be like, oh man, like, a scary thing will happen. And then, like, after many years of it just being, like, whatever, like, one day, like, that guy just starts killing people. Like, that's, like, way scarier than just, like, a serial killer. It's like, did we, like, make a demon or something?
People were in an uproar, talking about how the Nail Man is real. But now, he's been caught.
If Tech was here, he might be able to successfully remind me of the weird line of dialogue from that strange movie he worked on that he hated, that we saw the premiere of. It was just, like, this really doofy movie that, like, was trying to say something important and, like, really didn't accomplish it, in my opinion. But, like, it had some line of dialogue where, like, one guy, who I think was, like, on drugs at the time, says something like, what if we're, like, destroying the world with our minds, man?
What kind of person would want to copy the Nail Man? He must have a screw loose or something.
No, I believe he had a nail loose. I think that was the problem.
A killer from an urban legend. How creepy.
Look, Master! All the hairs on my body are standing on end!
But you don't have hairs on your body. Ghost joke!
But
that's
you
a
don't
proper
have
ghost
any
joke.
hair.
That's what a skull joke is. Except instead of it being because he's a skeleton, which is what makes it a skull joke. This is a ghost joke because she doesn't have hair on her body because she doesn't have a body. It's really hard to explain this concept, but I promise it's vaguely funny and I like it for some reason. I just want you to understand One Piece.
I guess that's all the info you can extract from these snooty people.
Still, I think I get the gist of it. These Nailman cases are based off an urban legend. They started 6 months ago. A similar case happened at the clock tower today, but a suspect was apprehended. That's about it. There's nothing else for me to know.
Wait, what about those cases? They all happened in locked rooms, right? I haven't seen any locked room mysteries yet! Give it to me! I want it now!
All right, Veruca Salt.
I
Slow your
doubt
roll.
we can see the scene of the crime. Let's just head back.
Come on, just a peek. Let's check out the clock tower one last time.
What I really want after he says, I don't think we'll be able to check out the crime scene, I want someone to come out like Newsboy style and be like, extra, extra, free trip to the crime scene. Just for like no good reason at all.
Just one look, okay?
You're the best detective, the president of our company, no, of our nation.
I don't understand. What a transition, huh? You look directly at the rainwater texture. It's not quite as egregious as compared to viewing at an angle. Just look at its spin. It's just not right. What did you just realize, Sarah?
Something's up.
Yeah, a clock tower is really tall. What's not to understand here? You seem really mad about this.
Excuse me!
What the?
Are you okay? Can you stand up? Come on, let's go.
Hey, wait! I'll arrest you for obstruction of justice!
What do I do?
You jumped in here without a plan?
That sounds right. Sarah says Shinigami isn't being sexual towards Yuma, she's just being sexual. Maybe even more specifically towards mysteries. But I think that's why she isn't creepy. Yeah, I mean, I think that is a big part of it. Like, I mean, some of the energy is directed to Yuma, but like, as opposed to Aiba or even Tama, like, doing horny things, like, it's not... It's... This isn't quite the right way to put it, but, like, it's closer to something consensual, because it's like... It's genuinely something like Aiba and Tama's behavior is, like, genuinely, like, workplace harassment, because, like, they're co-workers, and, like, it's not received, like, openly. But, like, Shinigami's just, like, that's her personality. And, like, maybe there's a better way to articulate that. But that's, like, the thing I said before is, like, it's just kind of, like, the way that she is. She just is a horny ghost. Casper's a friendly ghost. Shinigami's the horny ghost.
I couldn't help it.
What were you thinking? You just doomed yourself.
So this child is presumed the origami killer, huh?
You're under arrest by the Peacekeepers. If you resist, enforcement measures will be taken against you. Listen, you have no right to remain silent. You have no right to a lawyer.
Feels like it's not particularly helpful to tell me what rights I don't have, but I guess it's better than nothing.
Wait, please, listen to me.
Put both hands on your head and get down. Any other action will be seen as resistance.
It's time for, like, Helena Nightmare, right?
A coin?
Hidalgo punch! Huh. You know, I dare say she's even stronger than my mom.
Alora!
Not like a lot stronger. It's
She's
close.
stronger than my mom.
Laura.
A reckless sense of justice isn't even worth a single coin. This could have cost your life. Remember that.
Right.
Something about that animation felt very Eternal Sonata to
Some
me.
impressive athleticism. Unlike you, Master.
Hey, are you okay?
Please, my dad needs help. Please, get my dad back from them. Please.
His irises are the hands of a clock. That's fun.
Get your dad back? What do you mean?
He must be the origami
My dad
killer.
was arrested by peacekeepers for what happened at the clock tower. They say he's the culprit.
What is that
Wait,
shirt?
That's your dad?
But he was here to repair the clock tower. He has nothing to do with what happened.
The boy's shirt just has the numbers, presumably like 1 through 12, going like horizontally straight up the shirt.
Murder anyone. He has
It's very
no reason
peculiar.
to. So please, please, get my dad back from them.
Also a little bit of Eternal Sonata A posing.
So you want us to prove your father's innocence? Is that an assignment?
Assignment? Yes. I figured you could do it since you took them down so easily.
I figured that violence equated to detective skill.
How much do you have ready?
Huh? You mean money?
They want to find the nail man. Why don't they look for a guy with nail irises? See, Nego, I think that this is one of those conceits where, like, that makes perfect logical sense to me. But, like, you need to have the outsider's perspective, because in their world, like, that's just how eyes work. Would my irises be in the shape of? Goodness, I don't know. I really don't know. I'm not entirely sure how to answer that.
I don't work for cheap. I will fulfill a job no matter what it takes. I have the mind and strength to make it possible. However, if you want my help, you will need to prove your resolve.
But I don't have any money. All I can offer is this. My dad and I played catch together all the time. It's my most prized possession.
Hey!
Out of the question.
We're keeping it anyway.
Oh, Lara, wait! You're not going to accept his request?
Why should I? The only way to decipher someone's mind is to see how many chips they put on the table. If they cannot offer a fitting amount of money to prove their resolve, to me, they might as well not even exist.
That's very cool and normal of you, lady.
Good talk for someone who's all about the money. What kind of demon would try to take money from a little kid? I'm a death god though, so I sure ain't one to talk.
Yeah.
Oh, did he not offer enough? The ball itself may not be worth much, but the sentimental value it represents is priceless.
If you think so, then you should take on the job.
Huh? Me?
Or perhaps you're going to make the assignment on that boy's behalf. I don't work for cheap.
How much do you charge?
Preliminary estimates mark it at around 5 million yen.
According to the loading screen, Shen is the currency of specifically Kanai Ward. I don't believe it is a world currency. So she's already had to, like, examine the locality and, like, do some sort of conversion that probably isn't commonly known, considering people don't come or go from Kanai Ward basically ever.
Shin? Is that currency? How much is that?
It's enough to purchase a luxury car.
A luxury car? That much?
By the way, even though I'm amazing, I can't create human money out of thin air.
I appreciate you clarifying that, even though I definitely didn't ask. Does she have syringes for earrings? Yeah, I think we established that is happening.
I'll be at the cafe nearby. Come see me once you've made up your mind. You will need my help eventually. And when you do, call on a detective named Halara Nightmare.
This is a lame catchphrase. When you're desperate enough to pay for me, call Halara Nightmare.
Well, I have to do this myself.
What? You sure you can handle it? Though, I don't care, as long as I can scope out locked room mysteries.
Hey, leave your dad to me. He'll be fine.
I'll beat him up for you. Is that what we're doing?
Definitely, yeah.
Wait, are you confident or not?
Thank you! Please save my dad!
Looks like my master made up his mind. Now, let's take a peek at the crime scene. With the Peacekeepers gone, now's our chance to strike.
Hey, wait. Before that...
It's a Yu-Gi-Oh card.
Wow, it's the Clock Tower murder report. This is a great find.
This is incredibly convenient.
Just as I thought. The details of the case are on here.
Clock Tower murder case report. Crime scene. Clock Tower storage, 3rd floor. Victim, female. Age 20s to 30s. Identity to be confirmed. Estimated time of death, unknown. Time of discovery, approximately 7 a.m. Okay, maybe it's not like a huge gap.
The body was found around 7 a.m. And it's a little past 8 a.m. right now. So it's only been an hour since the body was first found.
No wonder things are so hectic. The body may even still be there.
Another body.
Anyway, Master, there's more to that report, right?
Yeah, this is 8 a.m. I mean, keep in mind that it's been, like, raining for 3 years. First on scene, clergy member and several peacekeepers. It's a little odd. There's a report of a suspicious person behind the church. The victim was discovered during the investigation. It's also a little odd. That feels like that could potentially be a setup. That someone made a call hoping to set a trap to make someone look like the Nail Man and get them apprehended. Possibly. Murder is suspected of being related to the Nail Man kill.
A suspicious person behind the church? But the area behind the church is...
All you need to do is write down the name of someone you wish dead. Someone you hate so much you could kill them. Then make a doll resembling that person, nail the name tag to it, and leave it at the forest behind the church. This summons the Nail Man, who will kill that person for you. Or so the legend goes.
That's where the forest to summon the Nail Man is located. They pursued someone they thought was the Nail Man and found the body.
No, the door was locked from the inside at the scene of the crime. The only window was shattered and also locked from the inside. Oh, it was shuttered and locked from the... I was like, that doesn't sound like a locked room mystery. That sounds like they forced entry from the window. Let me try that again. The only window was shuttered and also locked from the inside. As there are no other entrances, it seems to be a completely locked room. This matches the Nail Man's modus operandi.
There we go! Locked room mystery time! Yay! Mysteriful! I'm so horny for mysteries right now!
I don't know why you're so excited. Does the Nail Man turn his crime scenes into locked rooms like this every time?
A phantom who vanishes like smoke in a room with no way in or out. Just the thought of it makes me drool.
At some point, I really want to pin down what the thing is that gets her so enthusiastic. Is it death? Is it specifically murder? I'm not sure. She got so spooked by the concept of the Nail Man when hearing the urban legend, it throws me off a little. Suspect apprehended a suspicious individual near the clock tower. Suspect was found with multiple hammers believed to have been used in the crime. Name G.A. Colon. Age 48. Occupation unknown. Probably carpenter. Suspect claims he was repairing the clock. That seems suspicious to me in that if... Okay, they said that there was, like, clergy who was there when the crime scene was discovered, right? So it kind of suggests that this is a church or part of a church or what have you. Should he not have some familiarity with his work staff? So either he's clearly lying, or, like, he would be able to tell that this guy wasn't the clock repairman? Peacekeeper's current investigation suspects him to be the nailman. Communicate only the information found in this report to the media.
The Peacekeepers captured some dude and assumed he's the nail man. You gotta search the crime scene yourself to find the truth.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
You finally getting into it? Took you long enough to warm up. Now let's go. The scene of the crime is the storage room on the 3rd floor of the clock tower.
Yeah, let's hurry. Before the Peacekeepers wake up. You should go hide someplace safe. I'll be right back once I check inside.
All right.
Now off to the clock tower we go!
You're not gonna ask the boy his name or anything? Just gonna make sure there aren't clues or something. Like this. This fence is completely rusted. There's a lock on it, and it doesn't seem like there's a way through. Why not just go and kick it down? I definitely can't do that. Sometimes I get sad when there's like a good line of dialogue that isn't voiced in a game, because then I can't make it a button. I definitely can't do that. I can't reap an urban legend. Serial killer, though, is fair game. But, like, is it just the presence of death? Is it literally corpses? Why would a serial killer be more exciting than just, like, death itself? I don't know.
Come on, let's go! Go, go, go!
I don't think I have a run button.
Yep, yep. Use the stairs so you don't get fat.
I missed the stairs. Just to be clear, is this the first floor of the clock tower? It's the first landing. Okay, you're calling it 2nd floor. Okay.
I see a suspicious door! The crime happened in the storage room on the 3rd floor of the clock tower, so it should be right behind the store.
This is the type of building that seems like it was constructed specifically for someone to be murdered in, and not like a real location on the planet Earth. Or whatever the name of this version of fictional world planet is.
There may be a corpse still in there.
You've already seen plenty of corpses on the Amaterasu Express. Now hurry it up!
Is it better or worse that all of those people were burned to death, though?
That doesn't mean I want to see any more. To be honest, until I opened that door, none of it felt very real to me. I'd been treating the case as if it was something that happened to someone else long ago. But the moment I opened the door, all of my delusions vanished in an instant.
It's a lot of dolls. Oh, it's got that Danganronpa blood. It's got that Danganronpa blood.
Gosh.
Danganronpa blood.
Is that a real corpse? It's not some mannequin, is it? This blood is real?
Scrub.
How? Why?
Yes, forever.
Jeez, it's just some freakish, gruesome murder scene. Get it together.
Yeah. Chill out, man.
As your mentor, let me just say that you'll come across this stuff all the time as a detective. So don't be scared. Investigate. Hurry, before the peacekeepers come back.
Shinigami, you don't feel anything after seeing this body?
Death God.
You're asking me how I feel about death?
Picture an egg.
Well, let me tell ya, this is totally ordinary.
This ordinary? It's absolutely abnormal.
It's normal for it to be abnormal. You're dealing with a murder case in a city like this. You can either accept it or go insane. Blood is just a liquid, a body is just an object. Got it? Now take a look around before
Got
someone
it.
gets in your way. Chop chop.
Sound effect is familiar.
Fine. You're right. I should hurry before the peacekeepers return.
Yep. Now let's start the investigation.
I mean, the weirdest part of this to me right away, well, two things. One, that's an awful lot of dolls. I figured at most there would be one doll because you
Also,
commission a death with a doll.
Clues you find during your search will be recorded by yours truly.
Like, good grief, that's a lot of dolls. But also, it looks like there's, like, a strangulation mark on her neck, or whatever the correct term for that is. Also, welcome to the stream, Alcadius. I see you came in just at the right time to have a lot of fun with sound effects. Hope you're having a good Friday. Neko says, many of the worst things in life are just a liquid. God, how unfortunately true that is, eh, Neko?
It will all materialize once you get to the mystery labyrinth later.
Now, is it weird to assume that we need the mystery labyrinth? Even in the first case, didn't we sort of imply that that's sort of a last case scenario because we didn't successfully solve it just by ourselves or what have you?
I don't want to go back there anymore. Someone will die once the mystery is solved.
You are so naive, having sympathy for the criminal you're catching. What place is suspicious?
Inspect an investigation marker to gather information to solve the case. New solution keys can be acquired by advancing the investigation. Feels like that doesn't really need to be said, but okay. Seek a way out. It's like a lot of dolls. I just want you to understand how many dolls it is.
There are dolls nailed all over the walls and floor.
Like a lot of them. Very many.
Ghastly sight. All the dolls here look antique. They're looking at me as if they're full of hate.
This is a really expensive crime to commit for some reason.
It would have taken a ton of time to do all this by hand. Why would the culprit go to the trouble to do this?
Maybe it's to link it back to the urban legend about the Nailman.
All you need to do is write down the name of someone you wish dead. Someone you hate so much you
Boy, we're gonna get a lot of mileage out of this, huh? So that's just how we're gonna play this? It's like every 5 seconds we're gonna be like, do you remember that thing I said earlier?
Then make a doll resembling that person, nail the name tag to it, and leave it at the forest behind the church. This summons the Nailman, who will kill that person for you. Or so the legend goes.
You don't even have to, like, pay him. It's pretty weird.
Whoever is killed by the Nailman is pinned by countless nails.
But why would the culprit go through so much trouble to imitate an urban legend?
It says Shinigami really wants to go to the mystery labyrinth. It's not about whether you have to. I mean, the only problem I have with that, joking or not, is that, like, I feel like she was maybe I'm misremembering. I thought she said something to the effect, when we got to the train platform the first time, that, like, because you didn't, like, solve the mystery in the real world, like, we can go to the mystery labyrinth. Like, it didn't seem like she was super gung-ho about it. Not that she was, like, against it, but the only reason she brought it up is because we didn't succeed.
Or maybe it's the real Nailman. Now I'm scared. I told you I'm not good with occult and horror stuff.
I mean, clearly this is meant as a joke, but it's really weird. Like, it's intentionally confusing. you just burp, Yuma? So close to leveling again. I don't know why this is so important to me.
This part seems important. Maybe.
It's wet here.
So this is the only window.
If you were to, like, lay down on the floor, down there on the floor, you might get wet.
They've installed shutters instead of glass.
It's an extremely weird thing to have done in the first place. Again, sure feels like this entire building was constructed for the purpose of a murder, and not any proper use.
The shutters look new despite the building's old age. Must have been added later on. The window's big enough for someone to fit through.
No, the door was locked from the inside at the scene of the crime. The only window was shuttered and also locked from the inside. As there are no other entrances, it seems to be a completely locked room. This matches the nailman's MO.
According to the Peacekeeper report, the shutters were already closed at the time of discovery. So they've been left alone like this.
Hey, how about you try opening them?
It won't open. It's locked. Were the shutters locked when the body was discovered?
How do we open them? Maybe there's a secret password or something.
No, I don't think it's a password. Hey, there's a latch on the left side. I think I can move it.
Great detective work. There's no way to open this. Oh no, there's like a lock. There's like a color-coded lock to tell you if it's locked or not.
Alright, it opened. The latch was pretty light. It can be easily adjusted. It's rather high up. It's above the 3rd floor on most buildings. It's impossible to jump off from here.
Why is that your... okay.
Even if you tried climbing down, there's nothing to hold on to out there.
But like, what if the Nailman isn't like a human being, but is some malevolent, otherworldly concept that could survive a fall from this height?
You can see the big clock above, but there's nothing really suspicious here.
Could you climb up to the clock? If you were some sort of
difficult for the
crab
culprit
man?
to get in and out from here.
Made a lot of noise.
What's that sound? Oh, it's locked again.
Ah, that feels quite relevant. If you release it, it automatically locks.
Master, why are you still playing with the shutters? You want to be friends with them?
No, that's not it. Now it won't go down. I get it. This shutter stops once it goes all the way up. But when set halfway, it's designed to fall down with its own weight. And if it goes all the way down, it automatically locks.
I don't get it, but you're really fixated on these shutters. I'll make them a solution key for you, just in case you open a shutter shop one of these days.
There's something pretty amusing to me about the notion that Shinigami just, like, willfully decides what does and doesn't get to be a solution key. I mean, it was kind of hand-waved in such a way that made it seem like, yeah, if it's important to the case, it just naturally becomes a solution key the first time around. This time she's like, I mean, I guess if this window is so important to you, I'll exert the effort to make this into a solution key for you, weirdo.
There's something under the window.
It's more dolls.
What's that?
It's wet
Did you
dolls.
find something interesting?
Under the window. Oh, I leveled up
The bottom
again.
of the window is wet.
It's wet down there. You hate to see it.
Maybe some rain got in when you opened the window earlier.
No, the parts starting to dry are leaving stains. This didn't get wet just now.
Then
It's too many
maybe
dolls.
It's the tears from the nailed dolls.
That's probably not it, but it might be because they're creepy and upsetting.
No more horror stuff.
More dolls? Here too?
Why would they not be here? They're all over the room. This reminds me of one of my favorite things from Cardcaptor Sakura, which is that, like, she's this, like, incredible little girl who has, like, the ability to unlock this ancient magic that, like, no one else has done for, like, hundreds of years or something. And, like, anytime, like, a ghost story comes up, she's just, like, completely unable to deal. She just hates the concept of ghosts so much, despite the fact that she, like, wields and interacts with, like, incredible, powerful sorcery on a constant basis. And she's like, not a ghost! I don't know why, I always thought that was really funny.
These two are lined up and nailed together.
Because they're besties, idiot.
Huh? What's this? A yellow thread is attached to the nail in the doll.
What'd that be?
On a closer look, it seems the thread left marks on the nail. What could it mean?
So the thread is probably not thread, it might be something metallic that's scraped into the nail?
This is
Wire of some
suspicious.
kind?
You should remember this.
Yuma Cocoa Head will remember this. How do you like my crime scene investigation method where I save the body for last? Oh,
What's
a
that?
box. Why are you looking at a box?
I know.
I thought there might be a clue related to the case. It's covered in dust and there's no evidence it was moved. It's probably not relevant, right? Alright, let's look somewhere else.
This is the only
Check the
door
lock
in the
on it.
room. The lock is broken. They say the door was locked from the inside when the body was discovered. That must mean the peacekeepers broke the lock to get inside.
Here's a question, and they may just not have mentioned this in the report, such as we've seen it, but what was it that indicated to them that a crime had been committed in here if it had been locked from the inside? Did someone hear a scream at least, or is it all a setup? Like, I don't know. It's a little weird. Like, not having been... At least when stuff like this happens in, like, the Phoenix Wright games, there's usually, like, you happen to be present at the scene of the crime, like, leading up to it, and then you're aware of, like, the vague circumstances, and then you have to investigate closer to actually understand what happened. Here, we're, like, coming in pretty blind, and it's not entirely obvious what led to the discovery of the crime.
So the inner lock is the type where you turn a latch. I don't see any evidence of it being tampered with. There's a keyhole on the outside of the door, but it's filled up and rusted.
Yeah, that's weird.
This didn't happen recently. It may have been like this way before the incident.
Hey, why is the keyhole plugged?
They might have figured it was unnecessary. The inner lock is probably left over from when the room needed both locks.
It seems weird to fill in a lock, though.
Either way, it doesn't seem like we can open it with a duplicate key or anything.
There's no gap when the door is closed. It'd be hard to tamper with it. The only way to unlock this door is to turn the latch from inside.
Guess I could look at the corpse now
it's
or
a
whatever.
corpse.
I guess I'll have to search the body, huh?
The moment we've all been waiting for. You're lucky you got here before they took it away, aren't ya?
A lot of nails.
I can't stomach calling myself lucky when I think about the victim. This is definitely a real corpse and not a doll.
Yep, that's, yeah. But, like, see on her neck, it looks like she was, like, strangled or even hung or something. It's weird.
I don't know who this woman is. The Peacekeeper report didn't include any details. But no matter who she is, she didn't deserve this.
Actually, even more importantly, if I'm interpreting correctly what we're being shown here, it actually looks like she probably clawed at something that was, like, restraining her neck. Whether it was, like, a noose or just whatever caused it. Like, it's not just... Like, those scratches aren't uniform, so it probably wasn't whatever was around her neck that caused those. It probably means that she was conscious and able to try and get free, even though she most likely didn't succeed. Start by naming this case the Hanged Nail. Very good, sir. Very good. Why is the blood hot pink? So, I was joking about it a little bit before, but this is Danganronpa blood. I think it may legitimately be an effort to get around some type of censorship or something, but, like, it's definitely, like, a stylistic thing that this creator's, like, other hit series used was, like, bright, hot pink blood to try... It, like, I don't know if it was intentionally to make the scenes look more abstract or to get around censorship or something, but, like, it's an established convention that carries into this game for some reason.
Cut the chatter, Master! Hurry, hurry!
This is terrible. The body is covered in nails pinning her to the floor. What's this? There's a mark on the neck.
Makes the corpses look like Barbie dolls. I mean, that's probably part of it too. You know, Barbenheimer fever, being that it is the summer of 2023. It's the new hotness.
It looks like a rope burn. The vertical scratch marks were made by the victim as she struggled. A victim usually ends up with marks like this when they thrash around while getting strangled by a rope. It's fairly typical when it comes to strangulation victims. Seen it a bunch of times.
Yeah, it was like pretty abnormal for someone who got nailed to the floor. Unless, you know, that wasn't their cause of death or what have you.
So she was killed by strangulation? The Peacekeeper report didn't say anything about the cause of death.
I wonder why. It should have been easy to figure out. They didn't investigate at all! They got the chance to see a corpse up close, and they blew it!
Well, I'm under the impression that they all went to go see Oppenheimer, and they were going to deal with the Barbie murder second.
In any case, finding out the cause of death is huge.
The victim's cause of death was likely strangulation, but the Peacekeeper's report didn't mention anything about it.
That should be enough.
That's all the investigating I can do. And thus all the TV there is. The investigation can be ended once you're finished examining everything. Feel free to stop whenever. That's curious. If it and I have both determined that there's nothing else to do in the room, why do I have to manually end the investigation? Is there something else that could potentially be gained from something else? It sure doesn't look like it. And investigation.
That should do it for the investigation for now.
Yeah, I get it. Without a doubt, this murder crime scene is a locked room mystery. It's an impossible crime. The door was locked from the inside, and the only window had shutters that were also locked. It's a locked room mystery. So cute.
So cute. Oh my god, this crime scene Barbie is so cute.
What are you doing?
I'm taking in this luscious locked room atmosphere.
You're smelling how cute the crime is?
Anyway, let's leave before the Peacekeepers come. They just cause more trouble for us.
Huh? Oh, right.
Now, what's interesting is I can still wander around the room.
Speaking of which, what's this ladder over here?
Should we take a look?
I want glowing
There
arrow
doesn't seem
shoes.
to be anything suspicious about it.
I think that kid said his dad was here to fix the clock.
Oh, so that's the clock. Was he about to head back home after fixing it? Or maybe he was just about to start fixing it.
Probably doesn't matter either way. Nothing matters to me besides the locked room mystery.
Well, I'll think about it later. Let's leave this place for now.
Really, we're not gonna go up? That seems peculiar to me. Very well could have clues pertaining to the crime. Not saying it necessarily does, but one would think you would check. Ugh. Existing is really hard. Does anyone else find existing to be, like, pretty difficult? It's also still really hot in here.
Oh, it's you.
Over
He
here.
did such a good job hiding. I never would have known where he was.
Huh? What's the matter?
What's up? Find a body or something?
Over here.
Is this kid also a ghost?
How far does this go?
Over here.
Are you keeping up, Master?
While you were checking the clock tower, I took a look around the building.
This kid's voice is like crazy familiar. It's really annoying me. I want to say he's Quirk from Virtue's Last Reward, but that's probably not correct.
And I found these.
Could be though.
Footprints?
Has no one reported the group of unconscious men on the ground? I think the only people who would report that are the unconscious men on the ground. At the very least, I think that's what they want us to think, anime.
Maybe these belong to the culprit.
But I agree with you. It feels weird that we've gotten away with this for this long.
What? The culprit?
I'm not sure. Let's check. There are a set of footprints on the wet ground near the wall. But it's only the heel portion. The only thing I can discern is that they weren't sneakers. They could be loafers. But the footprints seem strange.
Do they smell?
Oh? What's strange about them?
Don't worry, everyone hates the Peacekeepers. I could believe that. I'm not sure we've fully established that. I definitely don't get the impression they're well-liked, but I don't know if they're, like, universally hated. But that could be a factor. It's a fair point.
Look, the footprints are facing the wall. This looks like whoever made them was walking toward the wall.
Guys, I solved it. This is definitely, like, suction cup stilts. So the reason it's only heels is because it's, like, it's not dispersed across, like, two parts of a foot the way, like, a normal footprint would be. Because it's just it's like the one sort of stilt footprint. But what happened is they have suction cups on the bottom, and so they just sort of, like, angled up and started walking up the clock tower. Like, so obvious.
You're saying the guy disappeared through the wall? We're dealing with wall-facing man now?
Is that too occult for you, or not occult enough?
First the nail man, and now this! It's a phantom party!
And they end right under that window. Is this just a coincidence?
No.
Or does it have something to do with the murder?
Considering how, like, very specific the entire construction of this building is, there's no chance that's a coincidence.
What do you think? Are these the footprints of the real culprit?
Well, to be honest, there's not much I can say with just this. At the very least, I hope I can prove the footprints aren't his father's. Hey, what kind of shoes does your dad usually wear?
6-inch stilettos?
Huh? His shoes? He usually wears sneakers. He was wearing them today.
Does he ever wear loafers?
Sometimes, but not usually.
It would be one thing if he didn't own a single pair of loafers, but I can't rule him out yet. Still, I wouldn't want to waste the kid's discovery of these footprints.
In that case, I'll remember it for you.
Shinigami will remember this. Suspicious footprints were facing the wall in the grass area behind the clock tower.
So, do you think you can find the real culprit?
Yeah, I think. Maybe. I might need a little
It's
more
possible
time
I could solve the crime, or maybe we're all doomed. I don't know.
I see.
Oh, but don't worry. I'll find a way.
Thank you.
I know he's worried about his dad. If he really is innocent, I want to prove it.
Can't stop thinking about his dad, committing all those crimes.
While I'm at it, maybe I should ask him more about his father.
The shooter must have hidden this grassy knoll. Would we call this a knoll? I'll be honest, I don't have a lot of knoll experience to know what constitutes, like, a traditional grassy knoll.
Did you notice anything different about your dad this morning?
Did he perhaps have, like, dozens of antique dolls in his pockets. Like, it seems pretty hard to do that in a way that's not, like, incredibly premeditated. It's a lot of dolls. I mean, well, no, they said there was, like, no sign that the box had been moved, right? Like, you could argue that maybe someone, like, had stashed the dolls inside that crate in the room and then took them out, like, later so they didn't have to bring in a bunch of dolls, but, like, it's a lot of dolls.
My dad went out late last night to work on the clock, so I didn't see him this morning.
He was out since last night. So he stayed the night here?
Uh-oh, guys. I think this kid's dad was having an affair with the clock tower.
That's his job.
His job is to repair clocks?
He doesn't just repair them, he also sells them. Watches and wall clocks, too.
Oh, so he's a watchmaker.
Wait, the Peacekeeper report said his occupation was unknown.
Well, like, not to be indelicate, but duh. Like, obviously they're incompetent and malicious. But, like, their own report said, like, the guy claimed he was here to fix the clock, but, like, there's just no way to know. I feel like you would just look into their job, and you'd have some sense of how accurate that might be. Again, if the clergyman who was on the scene and, like, present when the body was discovered, like, works at this clock tower in some capacity, I feel like you should have some passing familiarity with the concept.
Maybe it's more convenient for them if they intend to declare him as the culprit of the Nailman murders.
Oh, he's getting framed as the culprit. They made up their minds and dropped the investigation.
Does your dad also manage this clock tower?
No, he only checks on that clock once a year. But yesterday, he got an urgent request to fix it.
Yep. Yeah, definite setup. It probably has something to do with the guy who was present when the body was found. Because it sure seems like he falsified 2 reports that the Peacekeepers show up here at exactly the time when they could frame that dude for murder.
The clock wasn't keeping time, so he was called to repair it. My dad is usually happy to repair any clock, but he always grumbles about how much he hates the clock tower.
He hates it? Why?
It's really big.
Because he's afraid of heights. He's scared of even climbing up the clock tower, but he bites the bullet and does his work without looking outside.
Hey, Shinigami, I'm gonna need you to turn that into a solution key. I'm certain I need that later.
A fear of heights. He's afraid of climbing the clock tower and refrains from looking outside, so it sounds serious.
Master, you're improving so much thanks to my training. You're even getting better at pretending to think.
I'm not
Ow, my feelings.
pretending. I'm serious here.
I'm serious. I, like, basically have an ice cream headache from how much it hurts to think this much.
I hear noise outside.
Is it like 24 more
I hear
Peacekeepers?
talking. Maybe those guys woke up.
Let's take a look.
If all the Peacekeepers wake up, they'll be sure to pay you back for this. Say,
I can't kick it from this side either. Oh my god, I was gonna joke if there was a memory shard here, but look what there is. Literally a memory shard. Colored amethyst? Gotta watch those at some point. Someone remind me to watch those at some point. I don't know if we're doing that today, but we're stockpiling them. You can access them from the main menu once you, like, unlock them in the game, which is kind of neat. Everyone still seems to be unconscious. Check out those sweet neon eyebrows. I assume those are eyebrows and not something more logical.
Everyone, please wake up. This is Amaterasu Peacekeepers, Investigation Team, Section Chief Seth Burrows.
I beg your friggin' pardon. With all the goofy names in this game, this man's name is just Seth Burrows? He's the most normal one? The guy whose face is basically a monocle? His name is Seth Burrows? This game is wild.
Late. Please wake up. This is Amaterasu Peacekeepers, Investigation Team, Section Chief Seth Burrows. Hurry and wake up. Everyone, listen closely. It appears there are fools in town who do not comprehend the majesty of the Peacekeepers. Many of them have been eliminated already, but I've heard some outsiders have recently arrived. Go find witnesses and extract information to see who has interfered with us.
That's not how those work
They
at
may
all.
still be nearby. Capture anyone that even appears suspicious.
It's gonna be tough. We live in an anime world.
Oh, and did you clean up the body at the crime scene? If not, then hurry along with that.
I can't stress enough that that's just
The rain
definitely
in the
not.
city makes bodies rot quickly. You better hurry, or it will putrefy.
Sarah said, in fairness, Seth Burrows isn't a detective. But then why does he have a
speed this
giant
case along,
monocle?
we need to quickly deal with that nail man we arrested.
It's time for that nail man I mentioned earlier.
We should even consider a public execution.
Yeah, I don't want to disillusion you or anything, Demolition, but, like,
An execution?
there's clearly no attempt to made to localize this game to the extent that the lip flaps match the English dialogue. That's just been true the entire game. So I don't think that's going to change at any point. It probably matches the Japanese dialogue, at least somewhat closely, but it's not going to match the English. Hey, for Twitch, welcome to the stream. At least this guy's not Seth MacFarlane. Honestly, like, I think it'd be even funnier if he just was Seth MacFarlane for no reason. Although I say that, and I famously hate the movie Dogville, and among the many things I hate about the movie Dogville is the fact that for some reason they established, like, immediately that, like, one of the main characters' names is Thomas Edison, and there's, like, basically no real purpose to that. They, like, make quite a big deal out of it, and it's not, like, literally Thomas Edison, like, from history, and, like, there's not, like, a really clear connection. Like, I think I understand what the implication is, but, like, it's not worth naming a character Thomas Edison in your already bad movie. It's just confusing. I don't know. They weren't waking up. They weren't waking up until we just started pointing the mega horn in every possible direction. Hope all is well. Hope all is hot. Does that count? At this rate, my dad will be executed.
Doesn't care about the truth. He just wants to wrap up this case as soon as possible. In this city, what they say becomes the truth.
Please! Please save my dad!
The only way to save your dad is to catch the real culprit. I can do it. Leave it to me.
Okay, here's what I'm hoping. Here's what I'm hoping, right? So, when this boy was pleading for help, he wanted someone to figure out who killed the victim so his dad didn't get executed. First talking to us and Helena Nightmare, or whatever her name is, he offered his beloved ball that he and his father played catch with. We have not really accounted for precisely what happened to it. It was tossed to us, and then we didn't really address what happened to it. I'm hoping that it is secretly in our possession and they want us to forget about it. But at the end of this case, we're going to have to, like, pitch a fastball and, like, clobber someone to save the day.
Really? Thank you!
But first, we have to leave this area before they find us.
It's true. We don't also want to be executed in the meantime.
I know a secret way out.
Shh! Secret way out!
You can pass through here to get back to a street in Ginma district. You might stand out if you're with me, so I'll go a different direction.
Are you sure you'll be okay alone?
Yes, I play around here often. Please help my dad.
Yeah, just you wait. I'll bring some good news soon.
Do we have the means to contact this child again if we need to?
Please.
Yeah.
There's a lock on the clock tower, according to the map. I can't go back in anymore, which for some reason is a little amusing to me. Move board! Oh, that's why there's a conspicuous alley. Fair enough.
Who knew some brat would save ya?
Gotta keep an eye out for Quest 2, which somehow still hasn't shown up anywhere as far as I know. I think Quest 2 is in the hotel. Maybe we should go check the hotel. Quest 1 was in the hotel.
You sure you want to be so quick to make promises?
I'm not very confident, but I can't ignore someone asking for help. If no one else is willing to listen, then it's up to me.
Oh, that's nice. He has conviction, even though he has no memory. Do you think these cubes serve a purpose?
Wow! Get a load of this big shot. But how do you plan to find the real culprit? We can't investigate the clock tower with the peacekeepers around. By the way, you can't use the mystery labyrinth yet. Not enough clues.
Do I get to opt into that, or does it tell me when that
If
happens?
you jump into the labyrinth now, you'll be lost forever. You need to gather more solution keys.
That's really troubling.
I don't ever want to go back there anyway.
Then, how do you intend on solving this?
There is one way.
Police work?
You're gonna rely on that one, huh? Always depending on someone else. What was the spot again? Something about a cafe?
I don't have enough money for that. If only I could remember where the cafe
If you let
was.
them take the lead, you're gonna be out 5 million yen, right? Do you have that? Come on.
They're also trying to lead me to the cafe. Tired of walking. Can't we go to the cafe? But you're floating. So... Oh, I can't go to any of the other districts or to the clock tower. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to trigger that cutscene where I agree to pay 5 million Shan I don't have. Are we dead? No, but we're haunted by a Shinigami, a Japanese death god. We made a pact with her and lost our memories in exchange for the ability to, like, murder criminals by using a labyrinth of metaphysical nature.
Alara, please, help me!
If Master is bowing to show respect, I guess I better do the same.
Yeah, it makes sense, right, Critwitch? Once you have the context. That's one way to bow, I guess.
You're 30 minutes later than expected. So, do you have the cash?
No.
I don't have any on me right now, but I will eventually.
Very well. I don't require you to have it immediately, but you will pay me 5,500,800 yen eventually.
Now, did that number go up because we were late, or because interest that we don't have it now?
Huh? But you said it was 5 million before.
It's an additional fee for making me wait. And for the coffee. I told you I don't work for cheap.
Oh, come on.
So ruthless. A greedy little money demon. I think I'll call this one Hell Aura.
But it's like basically... It's basically the same.
I won't force your hand. Whatever you decide is up to you.
It's basically the same thing, though. Seriously, just use the labyrinth. I mean, do you mean eventually? Because we did more or less just get a warning from her that if we went into the labyrinth right now, we would just, like, get lost forever due to lack of clues and die.
While you think it over, I'm going to order some cake.
I'm not paying for the cake. I'm not paying for the cake!
Do I have to pay for that too?
I'm not paying for the cake!
Of course. I'll add it to the bill.
All right, I'll pay you all 5.5 million and 800 Shin. Got it? Please don't have the cake.
It's a deal. You made a wise choice.
You made a wise choice not paying for cake.
I have no obligation to help others, but I work sincerely according to the payment I receive. That is my pride as a detective. I will be your eyes and limbs, and help solve this crime with everything I have.
That first part's completely unrelated to solving the crime. You can just have me pick up stuff. I'm your limbs now.
However, know this.
I'm like the boost.
You must be the one to complete the boy's assignment.
I mean, that's just you saying that I'm gonna do the labyrinth in, like, quasi-meta video game terms, right?
Me?
You are the one who was asked to solve this case. All I will do is provide support. You may be a trainee, but you are still a detective. Once you have taken a job, you must finish it. In other words, as of now, I have taken up a position as your assistant.
This is such a weird way to live your life, lady.
Really, Halara? You'll be my assistant?
Of course. I'm here to assist per your case. Just rest assured in the cards you've been dealt.
All right, thank you.
Master has no memory and no guts. And now, he has no money either.
Joke's on you, I didn't have any money to begin with, so that hasn't changed.
Talk about a triple threat!
This is a luxury car for support? Well, look, it's a fictional world. So maybe even though it's like a dystopian, constant rain, like, future run by one mega corporation in a quasi-cyberpunk anime world, like, maybe people get paid, like, a living wage. Like, a very generous wage, somehow.
Oh, be quiet.
Maybe that's why the rates are so high, for having an assistant detective.
So, what do we do now?
To confirm, our target is the true culprit of the Nailman killings, correct?
The Peacekeepers have decided that the boy's father is the Nailman and arrested him. But I refuse to accept that outcome.
After we finish the investigation, we may find out the boy's father is actually the Nailman.
In that case, I'll go into a metaphysical labyrinth and kill him myself.
If that's what you conclude, then I'll believe you, Halara.
Believe? What a foolish line of reasoning.
Yeah.
To believe in another is the shallowest concept one can uphold. All people lie. All people change their minds.
Yeah, that's not quite what I thought she was saying, but sure, that's fine. You could be extra bitter on top.
As a detective, you must suspect all others. Even me.
Oh my god, it'd be so funny if she was the nail man this whole time. She's like, you should suspect everyone, even me. And then just like 3 in-game hours later, it's like, oh my god, Halara's the nail man.
Yep, a detective must doubt everything.
Still, I will believe what you say, Halara. I trust my instincts on this.
Out of the question. A detective must never overlook a mystery. Any and all truths must be exposed. A detective must always prioritize solving a case. Emotions must be discarded to reach a perfect solution through a perfect deduction.
That's the WDO's.
You're free to think of me as you wish. However, the truth must be found with your own eyes. Otherwise, there is no point in continuing as a detective. Do you understand?
Okay, so she pulls off her red and blue syringe earrings to reveal they were nails all along. That's a pretty good twist. It's a great way to hide some nails in plain sight. Just because they were actually needles.
Yes. Continuing as a detective. I still haven't found meaning in being a detective. What's Alara trying to make me see? I'm no good at this.
A naive guy like yourself might be incompatible with such a straight-laced detective like this one. Maybe someone totally unmotivated would be better. Like that guy sleeping under the piano.
Someday that guy hopes to die.
Vivia? I'm not sure if unmotivated is the right word.
Anyway, Master, I've been wondering, is this Halara person a man or a woman?
Huh?
Now that you mention it, I have no idea.
If you're ready, we'll start the investigation. I won't allow time to be wasted.
I mean, look. Yeah, Piano Man is Vivia. It's not my place to decide if someone is passing as a transgender person. All I'm gonna say is, this character does not present in such a way that I feel uncertain as to the gender they identify as. So, like, that line threw me a little.
Oh, right.
You missed your chance to ask. But then again, I also don't really care.
I mean, it shouldn't matter at all, right?
You finished investigating the clock tower, didn't you? Now we will investigate the past Nailman cases.
Oh, sweet. I have no idea how we're gonna do that.
The past ones?
Sarah says, what an odd question. Perhaps if we consider it for, like, 8 hours as some sort of mind project.
These are serial killings, aren't they?
Just in case you're unaware, we've been playing Disco Elysium, and it's a way you could choose to spend 8 hours. In that game, at least.
Oh, so you want to investigate the past murders as well?
I do.
And through investigating each one, we can conclude if the boy's father is really the culprit or not.
Oh, but we don't know where the other crimes took place. Should we ask around town?
That seems like a totally normal way to find that information.
I already know. There are at least 3 additional crime scenes. A secret club in Kamasaki district, a mansion in a high-end residential district, and an art gallery in Ginma district.
Do all of them have, like, clocks around them? Asking for a friend.
Huh? When did you find that out?
You think I did nothing while waiting at the cafe? I prepared by gathering intel in order to move the investigation along.
That's amazing.
With my logic, anything is possible. But before
Even a
we
boat?
head to past crime scenes, the Nailman urban legend requires more research. Let's visit the legend's main stage.
The main stage? Oh, you mean the church?
I have yet to pinpoint the church's location. We should ask someone to guide us there.
Then we should ask the chief. Oh, I totally forgot about him.
Oh my god, that's right. We were supposed to be at, like, a staff meeting, like, hours ago.
Halara, let's go back to the office for now. We're already way past the meeting time.
Very well. We can ask the chief to take us to the church.
Oh, no. We have to go the hard way for some reason. It's interesting. I can't bus travel to the submarine. I can bus travel to Kamasaki and then manually go there. There's probably some event flagged on the way or something like that. Any hope of locating that optional quest number 2? Or is that just, like, gone somehow already forever? Question mark?
You better hurry!
Get to there?
distraction?
I somehow find the maps in this game very confusing. I think part of it is that they don't rotate the way I expect them to. It's the wrong button. My ward map, Kawasaki District. So I am here. And finding the layers, it's kind of annoying. I do feel like I want to take the stairs. These are upstairs. Wait a minute. I've been misinterpreting that on the map? No, wait a minute. So that's some downstairs thing I can't access. This is upstairs. Nah, this does feel familiar. I think this leads where I want to go.
Master, you gotta hurry!
Oh, hang on. There's graffiti. Let me look at it.
Hmm?
These doodles. Do you know something, Shinigami? Of course not. I'm not into this stuff at all.
This place.
Look, it's not Mama. It's... I think her name must be Auntie. That's what I think. I can't seem to talk to her, though. So I'm assuming a cutscene occurs here. And rather than just, like, showing me that cutscene and then showing me the scene that follows on the submarine, it wants me to manually trigger this cutscene, I think. I'm not entirely sure why that would be better. Guess I said, oh, honey, let me explain the timeline for you. It's just, like, genuinely one of the worst twists in fiction. Oh, that's bad. This is bad.
Huh? Oh, right. Chief. And that peacekeeper from the clock tower.
He did already tell us he didn't want anything to change in town. It would not completely surprise me if he had some under-the-table deal to pretend to be an effective detective while just staying out of their way or something.
Seth Burroughs. A high-ranking peacekeeper. He's quite infamous for being sly and persistent.
Well, we sure got some heavy rain again, huh? The humidity makes my hair fuzzier than normal.
It's been raining for 3 years.
I don't care.
Fair enough.
Huh? What did you say?
I don't care. More importantly, you sent your detectives to interfere with the Nailman case, didn't you? We have...
Nailman? Now that you mention it, there was a case like that before. Oh, wait, no. I don't know anything.
Alright.
This flower, it's beautiful, isn't it?
Huh?
Created by Amaterasu Corp's research, this precious work of art is adapted to Kanai Ward's environment.
I get the gag here. I do find this a little annoying in a practical sense.
But unfortunately, once picked, it can only maintain its beauty for 3 hours.
Do we have to remember that for later? Is that part of the case?
When something beautiful withers, it fills me with an inexplicable sorrow. I feel so sad that... it makes me want to sink a ship.
That's weird. I had always heard that loose lips causes that.
I don't follow.
The Nailman affair will be handled by the Peacekeepers. You and your team will withdraw immediately. Bring in the detectives you sent out. The Peacekeepers will take custody of them.
Yeah, that's a good start.
Hold on! I don't know what detectives you're talking about, and I don't know where any of them are.
Hey, boss!
I'll wait until this flower withers. You have 3 hours. I'll not wait a second longer.
Like it says, the death of flowers makes him want to play Battleship. I mean, you could think of them as death flowers, or maybe like heaven mirrors or something. Are we doing more Eternal Sonata?
If you fail to meet my demands, you will suffer the same fate as this flower.
Fine, I get it, but...
You're gonna shove me in a vase?
Can't you give me more time?
He's gone.
Can't help but notice that the boss is wearing loafers. Commit a crime in loafers like those.
Chief Yako, are you alright?
Oh, Yuma. And Halara, too. Yeesh, this is bad. Listen, the Peacekeepers just came by.
It's true, the flowers probably would last longer if you put them in a vase. Is that like a puzzle we're supposed to solve? Is that if we get him a vase, he's like, alright, I guess you can have another hour and a half or something. Detectives must be exploring Andantino's secret passage. Andantino's secret passage.
I know. We were watching from over there.
Huh? You were watching? You could have at least helped me out.
They were trying to arrest us. What would our help have done? Get us arrested?
Hold on. Are you two the detectives they were talking about?
I'm sorry. It's a long story, but it was probably us.
Probably does feel like an understatement under the circumstances.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me! Why? What's going on?
It's exactly as the Peacekeeper said. We are currently pursuing the Nailman case. We'd like to search around the church. I was about to ask you to take us there, but you seem rather busy.
Yeah, I'm real busy now, thanks to you two!
I think he's miffed.
You're gonna keep investigating? Not gonna help your chief out of a jam? Look, we've got 3 hours before I'm taken away. If that happens, the last detective agency in town is done for.
Would you rather hand us over to the Peacekeepers?
Who do you think you're talking to? I'm the chief. I'd rather turn myself in than ever sell anyone out.
So then you are gonna help? God, I'm having difficulty keeping track here. Neko suggests the flowers not being in a vase should be a solution key. Why not? We'll see if Shinigami deems to exert the effort to do that.
Though, I wouldn't want to do that either, if I'm being honest. Never mind, forget what I just said.
Man, he does not know when to stop.
True.
What should we do, Halara?
There's only one person who'll be taken into custody. It's not the chief, not us. It's the Nailman. You will find the real culprit and turn the murderer over to the Peacekeepers as originally planned. With enough evidence, they will have no room to reject the truth.
But we only have 3 hours.
3 hours is more than enough. I will give my utmost effort as your assistant. With my logic, anything is possible.
I don't really get it, but it seems best to leave it to you two. You said you wanted to go to the church? Let me mark it on the map. It's for the best that I don't tag along. If we're seen together, things will get even more sticky.
Gross.
I'll be right here, waiting for good news. I'm counting on you.
Got it. We're off.
3 hours. You've got 3 hours to solve the case. Seriously, I'm counting on you. There's still so much I need to do.
God, there's so many things that could be on that piece of paper / photograph that would be funnier than whatever's probably true. If you're watching this on YouTube, please leave a comment to tell me what you think he's staring longingly at while saying there's so much he needs to do. I want the dumbest possible answer to this. Same for you, live folks. He's reading his grocery list. I haven't finished my errands for the week. There's so much I still need to do. I think it's a photo of himself. No explanation. He's just staring at a photo of himself longingly being like, I haven't done everything I wanted to do. This is a postcard from Atami. It'd be nice to go there. If only, you know, you meet like a nice receptionist somewhere and you just get away from it all. An unfinished haiku. It's good. It's very good. Just doing a very good job. Script for the day the clown
You can get to the church
cried.
from Kamasaki District. Time is short.
Can I do that?
Come on, over here!
Wait, are you actually leading me? No, I just want to follow and see what you do. Wow, that water looks even more wrong than the other water from before. Look at that. Look at that Nickelodeon gag. Oh, I can look at the gag. It's like all the rainwater from the district drains here. Why don't they let it drain into the river instead of the city? Whoever designed this must be pretty dense. There's something about the fact that the mini-map doesn't rotate, I think, that throws me off like every time I play this game. Hey, did they ever make like a crime scene investigator Barbie? No spoilers for the movie, of course. It's still relatively new. But like, is that a doll that exists? Wow, that's a spooky church. People definitely get murdered
The
here.
mailman urban legend originated at this church.
There aren't any ghosts here, are there?
Oh, it's very haunted.
Right?
What's the matter, Halara?
I hate churches. I find them devoid of value.
Barbie can be anything, even a boat. Hey, wait, is there a boat Barbie? Is there like a Barbie that's like a transformer that you like fold her up and she becomes a boat? Is that a thing? I should get that from my niece. Send me an Amazon link? Put the Amazon link in chat.
Huh? Why is that?
Or like on the Discord.
Because prayer is obviously inferior to payment.
Oh, Lord.
Just look at the tragedies the city has seen.
It's a real tragedy.
There is no God to save you. The lost lamb should look to detectives for help instead, don't you think?
Alright, Rorschach.
I don't know about that. Depends on the individual.
Forget it. For now, let's talk to the people around the church.
Will they even listen to us?
They can't say no if we say we're on assignment for the peacekeepers.
Is it okay to lie like that?
No, I'm sure that's a crime.
Whether it's okay or not is secondary. Our priority is to solve the case. In order to achieve that, deception is at times required. Now, let us educate those who are here that their true savior isn't beyond the rain clouds.
For the record, I think I like the voice acting for Halara quite a bit. Just having a little bit more time to interact with her. The character is not as cool as I was hoping for. She's a little obnoxious, but the voice acting is really good. And I like the character from, like, a pure, like, narrative standpoint. I feel like she's a good addition to our weirdo cast. I just personally don't like the character that much. Come on. Come on. Come on! Come on with all of... just...
What is it you wanted to speak about?
Sensory overload! What's happening here? What is this place? Who are these people? Why is there a cat girl at this church? Ah!
I've already spoken to the peacekeepers a bunch of times. How many times do I gotta say it?
At least her cat girl ears don't seem to twitch in the same disconcerting way that Zilch's did, which is actually weird because they look like they're basically the same model.
Hasn't the culprit already been arrested?
I think this guy's like Mo-chan after he devoted himself to the Church of the Sacred Noodle Pencils or something. Mo-chan is the worst character from the terrible Game World's End Club. Just by the way.
Well, I don't mind. I have time to talk.
Why are we breathing so heavily? Looks like a Cuphead enemy. Kinda does.
How long are you going to stand around like some tombstone? Our time is short. Why do you think we've gathered them here?
Did we do that? Or I kind of thought they were just hanging out. Church is weird enough. I can believe this is just what they do here.
Oh, yeah. We have to question them, right?
It's your move. Play your card.
Oh, I activate my trap card.
Do I really have to do this? I guess Halara seems intent on being the assistant.
In my opinion, it'd go much faster if Halara did this, Master.
But I have to do it. No point in wasting time thinking about it.
We're literally doing that right now.
Time for an investigation.
I want to start with this guy.
Excuse me, but you are...
Do you even have to ask? You know who I am.
Huh? No, I think today is the first time we've met.
I'm basically new here.
What? You're investigating the Nail Man, and you don't know who I am?
So this is Halara plays Pot of Greed. Sarah, what does that do? Can you explain to me what the card Pot of Greed does?
What's that supposed to mean?
This must be the clergy member on the report who was the first to find the body.
Oh. But before, his name was Worshipper, not like anything that implicates him as clergyman. So this guy's like the killer, right? This guy?
Yeah, that's right. I was the first on the scene.
Right, it was on the report. I'm impressed Halara was able to realize it so quickly.
I've been attending every day since I was first baptized here as a child. That's how pious I am.
Interesting to automatically incorporate baptism into this fictional church.
But I don't work here, so it's not like I'm a clergy member.
So it's another thing the report falsified. He's just some guy. That sort of tracks. It's a little confusing, but it's kind of meant to be.
I just love mystical places like this. There's an otherworldly feeling to it, you know? I love researching this type of stuff, which is why I've been keeping an eye on Nailman activity for a while now.
So, you know a lot about the Nailman.
That's an understatement. In fact, you could say I'm an expert in Nailman research.
In that case, what do you think about the clock tower murder? Though it seems the suspect has already been arrested.
I think he was framed.
Odd thing to say.
You do? Then who do you think the real killer is?
Sarah says, in fact, you could say I am the Nail Man.
The real Nailman, obviously. The Peacekeepers are making a big mistake. Listen, the Nailman exists.
It's so hard to tell if they're trying to bait me into thinking this guy is obviously the Nail Man or if he really just is obviously the Nail Man.
The Nailman is summoned through ritual and commits murder based on a sacrificial doll.
This is, no matter what, this guy is super weird. He's like, I'm a super pious individual. By the way, I definitely believe in the ritual that summons the Nail Man to commit murder on your behalf. That's like just a cool, normal thing. It says, in a way, we're all the Nail Man. Really? I'm Spartacus.
That's impossible.
Yeah, I get it. You probably want proof. In that case, look for a doll in the forest. You'll find a nailed doll with a name tag for the Dark Ceremony.
That's not gonna prove anything unless we see someone take that doll and then commit a murder in the next 3 hours.
Whoever's name is on it is the Nailman's next target.
It would be funny, though, if he's like, you want proof. Luckily, as the Nail Man, I can... Whoops!
Just follow someone in town with the same name. If you're lucky, you might have a run-in with the Nailman.
That's, like, the worst way.
Unfortunately, I wasn't so lucky. I've missed him by just a hair 4 times already.
I see. So you can guess the next victim based on each doll's name tag.
I was so close at the clock tower, too. I found someone whose name matched a name tag, and figured out she was heading to the clock tower. I called the peacekeepers and entered the clock tower, but I was too late. Damn it! If only I'd acted sooner. I was so close to meeting the Nail Man.
Guess he just wants to meet the Nail Man and doesn't care about preventing the murders.
I don't know, he might have the hots for the Nail Man. Maybe he wants to nail the Nail Man. Hey, who nails the Nail Man? Does that work like the Watchmen quote? Like, who watches the Watchmen? I'm inclined to say yes. I think it's a philosophical question we need to consider in order to solve the case.
So he's an occult enthusiast? Seems like a huge weirdo.
Yeah, let's get groping.
Let's get groping. That was worth 5 points. Sucks his Cuphead guy.
And you are...
I do the odd jobs, like cleaning around the church.
Odd job? Like with the hat? James Bond guy?
I also care for the forest.
Do you know anything about
I also speak for the trees.
I often patrol the woods, but I'm usually asleep at night. When morning comes around, there are dolls nailed to the trees. It's tough to clean all of them up.
How many people are doing this? This feels problematic on many levels.
I've never seen the Nail Man himself.
But I
I've
hear
seen
he's
people
handsome and
enter the
capable.
Forest plenty of times.
Have you ever talked to them?
I have, but they typically run away. Some get surprised and leave their nails and doll behind.
It probably doesn't help that I'm usually watching them from the bushes.
I chase after them to give them back their dolls, but I'm never fast enough. They
Also, I'm
get
always
away.
carrying a knife.
That makes sense with a body like that.
I understand. Thank you very much.
We're gonna talk to the nun last.
Are you the priest of this church?
That's right. My family has served this church for many generations.
I know it's not really supposed to be legible, but for some reason it looks to me like his book says Roy Bible. Like this is like a Royist church.
Though I only became a man of the cloth in recent years, the blood of martyrs spanning centuries dwells within me. Thus, my existence is but a piece of the eternal prayers offered.
That's cool. What's with the demonic etchings on your face in the blood of the innocent?
That is my mission, as the divine has guided me to do.
I don't get why, but he sure seems proud to be a priest.
He's got like Batman wings for some reason.
Do you know about the Nail Man?
Of course. I have no idea how that rumor spread around. Perhaps it was even started by a wish made by those seeking salvation, which created the fantasy of the Nail Man.
By the way, our church is totally cool with murder. The Roy Church is super chill with it.
Salvation? The people of this city must be crazy if they look to the Nail Man for salvation.
Hey, that actually sounds kind of cool. I know how they feel.
Anyways, I'm pretty sure the devil tricked this guy into becoming a priest. Just look at his ears.
I want to tie you up and go to a world where it's just you and me, Master.
Isn't it basically already like that?
Alright, nun time.
You are...
She seems to have broken her arm somehow.
What are you, blind? I'm a nun, obviously.
It's true, that really couldn't be any more obvious, I don't think.
You got some nerve, calling me here out of nowhere. Do you know how busy I am with choir practice? I'll kill your ass in the name of God.
I'm warning you with love and peace.
Sorry.
Hang on, chat's all like, oh, now, what was that about not sexualizing Yuma? No, I mean, that all sounded very platonic. I don't know what you're talking about.
She's the type my master has trouble with.
I'll have you know, my dad is a higher up at Amaterasu Corporation. I don't care if you're on a mission from the Peacekeepers. If you piss me off, Papa will make you regret it.
Oh, Papa does not approve.
Right. I'd just like to ask some questions. I'll keep it quick.
Speaking of not sexualizing, this nun is pretty great. I'm not sure what you're referring to, Sarah. This is a totally normal nun.
Daddy does not approve.
This nun looks like any other nun I've ever seen. There are nuns unlike this nun.
Do you know anything about this nail man?
You mean the
Snail
guy
Man?
nailing up dolls? Well, I have seen someone going into the
Babe?
forest late at night. Whenever I've gone into the forest afterward, I usually find dolls nailed to the trees.
And that sounds weird, but that's actually always been true. It's only recently that murders were associated with it.
The dolls have names written in what looks like blood. It's creepy as hell, really. In other words, it's totally metal.
I see.
Now, I'm a little intrigued by the fact that we're not at all addressing the broken arm here.
By the way, what happened to your right hand?
Ah, there we go.
Did you get hurt?
Hey, don't stare. It's nothing. I went a little overboard while practicing an instrument.
There's a joke in there, but I'm too tired and it's too Friday for me to get to it. Also, it's been a pretty lewd stream already. You just think real hard about it and you'll figure it out. Whatever the joke is about the instrument that she played. Presumably by herself.
Instrument?
I'm working on this new thing I call death metal choir. I was messing around on the bass and, well, you know.
Time makes fools of us all.
Is that your dominant hand?
Yeah, it is. Oh, no, you meant like, no, left-handed.
What kind of question is that? You want to die or something?
Oh, it is her dominant hand. I'm sure of it.
I see.
Uh-oh. Hey, wait a minute. We just learned something.
I've talked to everyone. Halara, is there anything you'd like to ask them?
Only end your turn once you've secured a shot at victory.
Does that mean I should gather more information? What else should I ask about?
I mean, I should probably ask about past Nailman murders, because that's like the whole thing we said we were gonna do, right?
There have been several Nailman cases in the past, right? Does anyone know anything about past cases?
You know a lot about these things, right?
Yeah, you can ask me anything about the Nailman, including all past cases, obviously.
I also know his favorite fragrance and his shoe size.
I was the first to find the body every time.
I just can't decide. He's like... He's so obviously the Nailman, it actually makes me suspect him less.
Huh? Every time?
There's no reason to look surprised. I already told you how I did it.
No, that like legitimately doesn't make any sense though. Because you couldn't have been the first person to find the first body using that method. Because it would mean you'd have to already know someone was intending to do Nailman murders without it ever have happening before.
I find dolls with name tags in the forest. Then, I look for whoever's supposed to be the next victim. But every time I find a victim, they're already dead.
Being the first on scene each time sounds super suspicious.
You think I'm suspicious, don't you?
Yeah.
I suppose you would.
Yeah.
The first person on the scene can always lie and say they discovered the body in a locked room. But the thing is, I've never been alone when I've discovered a body.
I don't know, man. Like, that's not less suspicious somehow.
All of the crime scenes had no way in or out, so I'd open them with someone nearby, or by asking the peacekeepers.
Incidentally, I also have a hammer and nails with me at all times.
So the body's discovery was never done alone. If that's true, then all the rooms really were locked.
Master, why don't you ask for more details about past cases for now?
That's what I did to get here. But, like, there's still something weird about this. Like, how is it, considering that they're locked rooms, and they're just, like, forgive the hand-waving here, but, like, random murders. Like, it's not, like, a personal vendetta. It's not... Like, I just don't understand how they always know that, like, this locked room has a dead person in it. I'm just, like, the circumstances are very strange.
Can you tell me more about each case?
There have been 3 Nailman cases in the past 6 months, excluding the one at the clock tower. The first happened 6 months ago at a secret club in Kamasaki District. It's essentially a members-only casino.
Yeah, I ran into that.
The victim owned the place. At the time, the Nailman was just a name you'd sometimes hear about in urban legends.
So how were you the first person on the scene that time is one of my major questions.
But I had a personal interest in the Nailman, so I started researching him. And then it happened. I came across another murder while investigating a name tag I'd found in the forest. I knew then that it had to be the Nailman.
And that crime scene was also within a locked room?
Yeah, all of the Nailman crime scenes have common characteristics. There's always a corpse and doll coated in nails, and also the murderer leaves no trace behind.
That's not exactly an MO, is it? That last part, I mean. And he says, also with how the peacekeepers operate, I assume they just arrest the first person they see. It does seem that way. You definitely get the impression, from the way they're talked about to this point in the game, that the thing the peacekeepers want above all is just, like, not to have to investigate crime. So it really seems like they would arrest this guy, which makes him even more suspicious.
Isn't that bizarre? See why I'm so interested in the Nailman?
Like, the only way to maybe make this worse, and I'm sure the game will prove me wrong, because they just love making this specific character really suspicious. But, like, I almost want this conversation with this guy to end with, like, oh, by the way, what's your name? And he's like, my name? Ailman? Ailman.
I totally get it.
Don't empathize with him.
The secret club was the first locked room mystery. As for the second, it was at a mansion in the residential area near Ginma District. About 3 months ago, the owner of the mansion was murdered in the building's study.
It looks like it has, like, hamster tunnels running up that side. Neon-coated, person-sized hamster tunnels?
The crime scene again took place in a locked room with a corpse and doll covered in nails inside.
It's not, like, a whole lot of detail from this guy, by the way.
Considering all this, there's no doubt it was committed by the Nailman. By then, I knew the legendary Nailman had descended upon Kanai Ward. The third locked room mystery occurred a month ago. A woman was killed in an art gallery storage in Ginma District. It also featured a body and a doll covered in nails in a completely locked room.
Not a partially locked room, mind you.
And today, the fourth locked room mystery happened at the clock tower. That's every single Nailman case. At least, for now. I'm sure the Nailman will continue on. He will enact revenge for the people of Kanai Ward.
Uh-huh.
Past Nailman murders. Information obtained by a super weirdo named Ailman. I think this is one of those things where I'm just asking all of these, so I'll just go in order, I guess.
That reminds me, is there any information about the dolls used in the Nailman ceremonies? I know a few have been found at the crime scenes, too.
A few? We were at one of the crime scenes. It's wallpapered with dolls.
You find that stuff in any doll shop.
Doll shop?
Huh? You haven't seen one? What are you, a foreigner or something?
That's racist, kind of.
Around here, all the craft shops have been selling fancy dolls for a long time. They were mostly souvenirs for tourists, but that industry is long gone now.
Wait, that's a confusing statement. If they were mostly for tourists, then wouldn't it be more unusual if she suspected we were a tourist? She was like, what, you're not from around here? So you don't know about the thing that's meant only for people who aren't from around here? He wants to see the nail man. Why doesn't he just write his own name and nail it to a doll on a tree? I mean, you would get to see him. You might not get to, like, talk to him or, you know, like, ask him on a date, potentially.
Some places still sell them at steep discounts just to get rid of their stock. If you know where to look, you'll see mountains of illegally discarded dolls all over the place.
Illegally discarded dolls? Were they made of, like, radioactive waste? Why is it illegal to discard dolls?
I see. So they aren't much of a clue given how easy they are to obtain. Has anyone noticed strange things happening near the church lately?
Wow.
Like murders?
What a vague question.
Oh, now that you mention it...
What is it? Please, any small detail will help.
Something strange was burning in the incinerator earlier.
It was an entire human skeleton.
What do you mean by strange?
Like... I thought it was a rope, but all I can say is it looked strange.
Can you show it to me?
Can you try drawing what it looked like?
A rope? It's probably gonna be a little doodle of a rope, huh?
It does look like some sort of bizarre rope.
Why would it need all those things on? So this is how the killer escaped? They, like, strangled her with the rope and then used the murder weapon to escape the crime scene and then tried to destroy it later so there wouldn't be any evidence of it?
It's like a centipede with legs missing from one side. Looks
Yeah, I guess
delicious.
it could potentially be the case that the other side is a whole rope of its own that somehow got separated in the course of committing the murder or something.
I was worried that it wasn't supposed to be burned, so I tried to take it out. But I was too late. It was completely incinerated.
And I have a little bit of it right there.
I asked around to see if anyone knew about it, but everyone claimed they hadn't thrown away anything like it.
When I asked if anyone knew anything about this murder weapon I found, they were like, no, don't ask me that.
The incinerator is surrounded by a locked fence. Only clergy can access it.
So, no one here recognized it?
I don't even work here in the first place.
Yeah, but, like, you're also the nail man.
Only clergy can access the incinerator, but no one claims to have thrown it away.
I don't know if this has anything to do with the case, but something's fishy.
Burnt remains of a strangely shaped rope from the incinerator.
A watchmaker was arrested earlier. He's suspected of being involved in the nailman incident. Does anyone know anything about him?
A watchmaker? You mean G.A. Colin? I've asked him to fix the church clock several times. To think that he's the nail man.
Well, it hasn't been proven that he's the culprit yet.
Oh, I see. But if it were him, no one would blame him.
Please immediately tell me what that means.
What do you mean?
This city has completely changed. Everyone is seeking salvation in some way. The Nail Man was born out of our situation.
That's such an unhelpful description.
You mean the Nail Man is what the people actually wanted?
Many would certainly deny it, but the Nail Dolls continue to appear in our forest. If the Nail Man acts as their agent, then they are also the Nail Man.
My God, you were right. We really are all the Nail Man, aren't we? So it's like a Murder on the Orient Express thing? The Nail Man's like the entire town?
That's how I see it. What do you think?
It's true. The Nail Man could be seen as a savior to some people. After all, he kills the people you want dead for you. I mean, the victim had it coming for doing something worth getting killed over, right?
I think I've asked about everything I wanted to find out.
Looks like time is almost up. Let's get going.
We spent 3 hours just asking random
Was
questions
that
these four weirdos.
okay?
Yes, it will suffice. Thank you for your cooperation. You should study their faces well. They may end up being accused of the murders. Huh? You need to remember every face, so you can spot them even if they flee through a crowd.
Wait! Do you mean the actual culprit is one of them?
Perhaps. There's not enough information yet to act on. We have no time to waste. Let's investigate the other crime scenes. Best not to scramble what little gray matter rests in your head. So let's examine the crime scenes chronologically.
Okay. Well, the first murder occurred at...
The secret club. Shh. Secret club.
It's the secret club in the Kamasaki district, right?
Correct. Let's hurry. I won't allow time to be wasted.
Are there any, like, points to be gathered by, like, talking to one of you, or... Ah, by looking at this thing?
I'm sure.
This fox must be the church's symbol. Otherwise, fine atmosphere spoiled by a lame fox. A gargoyle would really tie the place together. I feel like that's not a great attitude to have. Same thing over here?
Sure.
Come on.
Any sharp... Oh, hang on. Eerie window! What's up with this window? It's creepy. Maybe it's to reinforce an always watching type of ideology. Ew, ew, ew. This thing's gonna haunt my dreams. Let's get out of here. Did you do murders? If you ever want to ask about the Nail Man, you can come to me. I'll tell you anything. In exchange, if you find out who the next target of the Nail Man is, you better tell me.
Yes.
I mean, I imagine it would be fine to do that because you're probably the Nail Man. Oh man, there actually was a shard here. I didn't want to leave because I wanted to check for it, but I didn't actually think it'd be here again. Gotta do those at some point. I don't think we're doing that today. Probably? Magnificent tree. What about a gargoyle rug? That would tie a room together. I don't know about a whole church thing. This big tree is majestic and all, but there's something unsettling about it. I think it's because of how twisted and distorted it is. That was worth 10 points, everyone. Medal of Fox, the religion practiced at the church in Kanai Ward. The spear piercing a crescent moon. Thou shalt not bear old prejudices. There's a whole bunch of weird information about that church.
Halara, I've been thinking. The first incident was 6 months ago, right? If we go to the crime scene now, there's nothing left to investigate.
Adoy, first of all. Second, I'd like to direct your attention off to the upper left-hand quadrant of your screen, where a woman in a trench coat is standing watching like a test pattern on a TV outdoors in the perpetual rain. It's an interesting mood, isn't it?
You think it will be a waste of time? There's no need to worry about that.
So, you have a plan then?
What? You're working with Halara Nightmare. What more could you possibly ask for?
I'm gonna guess that her forensic forte does something. The next killer is the static woman. Oh no!
Now, let's be swift.
Huh? Right.
I don't really get it, but talk about confidence. Where's the secret club? I smell a mystery. I'm all.
This appears to be the crime scene, but it's sealed off. They've left it like this for 6 months?
No doubt they've shirked their obligation to clean up. I suspect the peacekeepers are lazy to a fault.
Now, obviously, I could have done that trivially easily, but I wanted to do it in a way that looked cool.
It's open. Let's go inside.
I'm starting to become concerned that they've done so little to manage this crime scene that, like, the completely decomposed body is just going to be hanging out there. It's going to smell terribly. It's Petey's birthday. Well, happy birthday to Petey, Demolition. Does he get... Is there a treaty for Petey? God. I feel like we're on a replica of the Titanic all of a sudden. This is not much of a club, by the way. This place is humble AF. It's weird, there's like none dolls here.
The peacekeepers may be sloppy, but even they wouldn't leave the crime scene completely untouched. The body was probably found around here. The victim's name is Suguma Iho.
My brain really wanted to read that as Sugma. And I imagine that you can guess all the things you could do with a name like Sugma.
An old man who owned this place. His reputation left much to be desired. This place was an illegal casino operating at obscene rates. Even the cheating was rampant.
You sure know a lot about it. When did you...
I told you, I gathered my own intel while waiting at the cafe. The real interesting note is that this crime scene also had no way in or out. At the time of discovery, the door was locked from the inside.
There aren't any windows either, which is expected given that it's underground.
Something so, like, wildly suspicious about this place. It's just such a weird thing for this to even exist.
There are air vents, but they have secure covers barring entry. Besides, no one's able to reach that high up.
No windows. The only way in and out is the door that was locked from the inside. It's a locked room mystery! Locked room mystery!
I'm wondering if, like, every mystery in the game was a locked room mystery, given how this all plays out. Looks like there's something weird above the doorway, though.
But there's not much more to investigate. We don't know what state the body was in at the time of discovery.
I told you not to worry. The conditions have all been met.
Oh yeah, it's Forensic Forte time for sure.
Conditions?
Don't tell me you've forgotten I'm a master detective.
Oh, your forte.
My forte is postcognition. The power
Ooh,
to see
postcognition. Postcognition is a fun power.
However, it can only be used at murder scenes.
I mean, that makes enough sense for me to suspend disbelief in a game where primarily detectives appear to have superpowers, but I still have questions about that whole system.
To be precise, I can only see how the crime scene appeared at the time it was first discovered.
That's highly specific.
Another way to describe it would be as crime scene limited psychometry, if that's easier to understand.
It's not, I promise.
That's amazing! It's like the perfect forte for a detective.
But what if, like a rat snuck in here and found the crime scene before people did? Would that, like, wonk it up?
My power allows me to see the moment the first witness saw the crime scene. Not the culprit, not the victim, but how it appeared when a third party first entered.
That's pretty weird.
The memory or perception of the witness does not affect my postcognition. What I see is what actually was there.
It's really hard. Like, I'll suspend my disbelief for this as a video game, whatever. But, like, it's really difficult for me to imagine a way in which that power could work in that way, in any remotely scientifically plausible way. Like, you know, certain superpowers just like, oh, I get it, you, like, manipulate magnetic fields or whatever, and it's just like, oh, like, as long as I understand the concept of a magnetic field, sure. But something this specific, it's like, okay, so, like, it has to be a third party that discovers the crime scene. Okay. But then it doesn't tap into that person's perception of the crime scene, despite the fact that it's triggered by their presence there. It's somehow an objective, true depiction of the crime scene as it was found when that person appeared. Like, what force is that drawing from? That's so confusing. It doesn't even seem like a psychic thing at that point.
When it comes to my power, the witness is not a camera or a recording device, but rather a trigger. Perhaps the best way to think of it is like a bookmark stuck between the pages of when the body was found. Well, there's no point in wasting more time explaining. Let's have a look.
That power sure is convenient. Explains all the confidence. It's similar to the mystery labyrinth, where I recreate the crime scene in your mind. But now it's done in the real world. Although, it is limited to both the crime scene and the moment of first discovery.
I'm really highlighting that for some reason.
But still, it's amazing.
On the other hand, my master's got nothing. Why is life so unfair? Now I'm angry.
You can't just have your characters say how they're feeling. That makes me feel angry.
Master, can I nibble on your heart to help cheer me up?
Of course not.
Please don't do that. Why is the fact that Halara's forte is postcognition itself a solution key? That seems troubling.
What?
Look around the scene in the real world until I'm done using my postcognition. But wait, every other time we've seen a forte in use, we've had some ability to sense it that other people don't. That seems to be a burgeoning forte of our own.
Postcognition?
No, I mean, I get that, like, it will be relevant later, that it's so important that it's first discovery. It's just like they are emphasizing it, which means that, I guess, is the subtext.
I wonder what it's like. All I can do is wait for the report.
Well, do I have some good news for you?
What is it this time?
Master, try to remember. Did you feel anything back on the Amaterasu Express?
Was that Shinigami's doing?
You know, when the other master detectives used their powers?
This sensation. I felt it when Aphex used his powers. Somehow, it feels like I can hear what Poochie hears. Right. I can sense whenever a master detective uses their power.
Yes, that's it! Maybe your coalescence will work now.
Coalescence?
Simply put, it's the ability to share someone else's power. On the train, you only felt the resonance of other people's fortes, but its true function is to share their powers.
Wait, then that means I can also see the scene in the past with Halara? That's amazing! Is this your ability, Shinigami?
Something like that. But there are conditions for it to activate.
I don't know. I'm still kind of inclined, given that answer, among other things, to think that this is like a not fully developed forte that we had before the deal was struck. Also, does it seem funny to anyone else that Halara's like, I'm busy investigating, and she's silently standing there? Like, you would think that if she was, like, recreating the state of the crime scene, that she'd be, like, wandering around to, like, look at stuff, and it would be, like, overlaid, maybe? I mean, it could work differently, but it seems weird for her to just be, like, standing stock still, but, like, not in some kind of trance where she's, like, divorced from the present moment.
You must kiss someone to share their ability.
Oh, okay, well, that's a fun, sexy time for you, huh?
What? Kiss Halara?
Ha! I lied. Look at you blush. Did you really want to? You still don't know if Halara's a boy or a girl.
Oh, gross. Is that the whole reason why we tried to make that seem ambiguous? I don't like that.
Oh, quit messing around and tell me how it works.
You need permission from the person sharing the ability first. Then, you must hold hands while the ability is active.
Oh, also not true.
That's it.
Okay, I can do that.
Nekro says we're standing between her and the corpse, so she's likely staring at that. But do you think the most effective way to examine the corpse using, like, post-cognition would be to stand almost as far away from it as possible in the room? That's kind of my question.
Halara. Halara?
I need you to be quiet. I'm concentrating.
Sorry, but there's something I want to ask.
I want to hold your hand. I want to hold your hand.
Coalescence. Hold hands. You and me.
Nekro doubles down. Yes, with your hand over one eye to check your vision. Okay, that's fair enough.
Yes, that way I'll be able to see the past too.
Oh my god.
I think.
Shinigami's such a jerk.
My sources
She's like
made
Rocket
no
Raccoon.
mention of such an ability. In fact, you're just a trainee.
Yeah, but I just remembered I had it.
This is so messed up. This is such a mean thing to do.
Anyway, we don't have much time. Let's try it.
I have no intention of getting friendly with you.
Oh, it's not like that.
I despise you.
Well, you know, we're off to a good start. It's no worse than most of my first dates, I'll say that.
Just the thought of holding your hand makes my skin crawl.
That's a little excessive.
I didn't know you hated me so much.
Let me be clear. I don't just hate you in particular. I despise all of humanity equally. I don't trust anyone, except the dead.
You must be a lot of fun at parties.
I had a feeling. Halara must be a demon straight from hell.
Then why did you choose to help me with the investigation?
As I told you in the beginning, I always work sincerely for the payment I receive. As long as you promise payment, I will promise my utmost efforts as a professional.
Honestly, I respect that. I still think that she's creepy and a bit much, but I respect, like, the conviction here.
Then please, hold my hand. It's necessary for the investigation. You can add this to my bill if you want. You'll agree then, right?
Fine. If it's what I must do as a detective, then I have no choice but to agree.
I kind of wanted her to throw up on him. Oh man, this feels very much like, what's the one from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure that can rewind time? It's got that vibe. from Golden Wind.
I
Moody
can see
Blues?
it. Everything looks different than a moment ago. Incredible. So this is post-cognition.
This kind of feels like a good place to save. Can we save? Can we save here, or is it doing the thing where it's lying and I can't actually save? Oh, I can save here. No, I can't save here. It gets me so good every time. Every time it gets me so good. It's interesting. So the dolls appear in color despite the fact that they weren't here. But... No, wait. Is the stuff in color things that were there then that aren't here now? The table is currently in the spooky position? My initial impression was otherwise.
Can you really see it? So your coalescence is real. I didn't expect you to already have your own forte.
I love that we're Mega Man. I like that we're the Mega Man of mystery solving.
Well, this does save me the trouble of reporting it back to you. But it's quite inconvenient to keep our hands joined.
Like, right down to touching her hand, because that's in the old, weird, bad Mega Man cartoon that nobody but me liked. That's how he would replicate their powers. Is like, whatever the blueprint for, like, the robot master weapons were was, like, always stored in their hand, even though only, like, a high percentage of them actually had their weapon in or on their hand. But he would touch it, and then there'd be, like, a close-up of his forehead, and you'd see, like, a weird schematic pass over it. And then he'd have access to that weapon.
Very well. Go ahead and lead the investigation.
Me?
If you can see what I see, that would be for the best. I'm only acting as your assistant, after all. This is quite the bizarre crime scene. But unusual crime scenes are expected when you work for the WDO. Now, let's see what you're capable of.
Not much. Investigation. Okay, now can I save? Now that we're not in a quasi-cutscene? Yeah. We didn't save it all this stream. Probably not wise. Let's save over this. Nothing problematic about that. It's me, Big Vasco. So yeah, I guess we'll pick up next week, probably doing a series of these, and then maybe start the Mystery Labyrinth is my guess, given the way those things have progressed over the course of this particular installment. Still have no idea where Side Quest 2 is. So we're probably never finding that, is my guess. Yeah. I don't know. I continue to like this game. It's weird. One of the only criticisms I think I've heard about the game is that it, like, really holds your hand, which is ironic because now we must hold someone else's hand in order to share their powers like Mega Man. It's hard for me to say if I think that's true based on the amount I've seen, as I've done stuff that still feels largely tutorial-y. I guess I've seen a couple of, like, minor signs that that might be the case, but I don't know. There's at least some of those memory shards that aren't hidden in totally obvious places and are very easily missable. But, you know, they're optional pickups, so it's not a huge deal for that to be true. I don't think I have anything else really to reflect on. I think despite the fact that my brain is barely functional at this point in the day, that I mostly expressed any thoughts as they were coming out of the game. Continue to like Shinigami. She's been a little more annoying maybe during the stretch of the investigation, but not like I suddenly hate her. Her hating the occult is weird. I haven't fully settled on whether I think that's weird, clever, weird, annoying, or some in-between space. Delician asks, with 3 to 4 detective games in a row, when do you apply for your license? To the World Detective Organization? I mean, I guess I'd probably get in at this point, because most of them are missing presumed dead at this point, right? Like, it's probably not a super high bar. Plus, they sort of suggest that you don't even have to have a superpower going into it. They expect to sort of train you and see if you have one. Plus, not everyone has one. The chief said that he doesn't. I do like mystery stuff. Occasionally, I might go so far as to say that,
I'm so horny for mysteries right now.
it's still just like a very good clip, from this game. But yeah, I mean, I think, we'll call the stream completed soon. Of course, first we must attempt to locate the secret Squirtle. Somewhere on the couch behind me is a secret Squirtle. If you're able to locate it, it will be an omen of good luck for you in the coming times. However, note that if you see a Squirtle, that one itself isn't a secret, but it could always be hiding a secret Squirtle. You just never know. And that's why I will give you a chance now, if you haven't already, to look around, see where you think a Squirtle might be hiding, and make your guess. In the meantime, I'll enjoy some of this 100% juice apple, and perhaps one of the last ever classic 100% juice apple containers? Big plastic juice apple bottles? Yeah, this is a Darkest Dungeon shirt that Tech got for me, because I got him into the game after I was streaming it a while back. And, they don't make a whole lot of Darkest Dungeon merch, but it's a really good shirt. So it was very generous, and I like it a lot. Super Squirtle, Donut Dragon, Blue Spot. See Winnie the Pooh Bear guess. F to Juice Apple. I mean, luckily the Juice Apple itself still exists. I have made the conscious decision that I want to show the before and after of the bottle whenever I'm forced to move to the new one to commemorate the occasion. All right, let's go. Let's go take a look. God, I'm so tired. Where shall we begin? Start with the Donut Dragon over here. They haven't gotten a good close-up on her in a while. Look at her little wings. She's got little hands and little horns. She's very good. Hiding back there is this entire concerned loaf. God, he's so troubled. It's like he found a doll with his name on it in the woods or something. Squidbeard, oh, that's gonna be a tricky one. I tucked away all these little guys that can't really stand out on their own. What's hiding under Squid? Under Squidbeard was yet another tiny folk. It's an extremely small squishmallow cinnamon bun. Get even closer. It's got the little eyelashes. They're pretty good. So I guess behind Cool Spot. Hiding behind Cool Spot and under the Banana Man. He's a little sleeping Eevee. He was protecting it to make sure no one woke it up from his nap. Also wanted to show off that he's been using Tunic Fox's weapons, because he's trying to murder all mysteries. And I think the only other guess I remember was Pooh Bear. Of course, this is my special Santa Pooh. Hiding back there, structurally integral to that pile, was indeed a secret Squirtle. A large one at that. So congratulations, Ice Bunny. I think you were the one who selected Pooh Bear as the hiding space for our secret Squirtle. Sensed his intentions with your forte. Well, what is your forte, Sarah? I want to know all about it. Anyway, thanks to everybody for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this installment of Raincoat. Thanks for watching. Thank you for being here. Thanks for being you. And I hope to see you again soon. I'll be streaming tomorrow, 6 p.m. Pacific, same time as usual, with some more Disco Elysium. I don't really know what I'm doing in that game. I have to kill a bunch of time to try and get my stolen gun back. Well, stolen is a strong word that's not accurate. But yeah, we'll be back with more Raincoat next week if that's more your speed. But whatever the case, if it's one of those upcoming games or something in the future, in the meantime, I ask you to take care of yourselves and remember that you are clawsome.